Hey, what is going on? Just getting set up. First of all, apologize for the delay. I ran out of time this morning. I had so much going on, and I didn't lose track of time. I just didn't have enough time to do a couple things before I get started. Also, let me check my microphone levels. That's probably a little bit better right there. Sorry if you now had to adjust your volume twice, but this is the normal level. Hope you're doing good. How's everybody doing? Man, crazy busy morning this morning. Just been all over the place, video stuff, got some new hardware, playing with that, trying to get all that in order, redid a lot of my lights back there, adjusted the points now, so you can actually change the lights in here at a lower point value. There's still one more thing I need to do, but you may or may not notice. I'll notice, but it's something I need to fix, and it has to do with the hardware I just got, and wiring that up and writing some code in API. So how's everybody doing? Cowstub, how you doing? Good to see you. Good evening. That's right. It's evening for you. Software rat off. Hello. How's it going? Schleimstrand, how's it going? Good to see you. Software rat off. There you go. You redeemed him. There you go. I think you picked the same one, but now I have them fade out and fade back in. So if you just pick Tokyo Lights, it's already set. I got some couple more things coming with alerts and whatnot, but it's all working. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I was getting into when I thought I'd change lights with point values and write some code to make that all work and get it working with Philips Hue amongst other devices I have in here. There's a couple more devices I need to hook up to, and I'm gonna wire up an alert other than my bot saying thank you for redeeming that. But yeah, thanks for spending those points, Cowstub. But yeah, so you can change them all you want. Like you saw, it was already set to Tokyo Lights or Tokyo Nights. If you choose the same one, it'll dim out and dim back in. So at least you know that it kind of worked. So yeah, so how's it going? Software rat. Is a Dell R710 good? With 600 gigabytes and 32 gigs of RAM, etc. CPU, I do not know. I have an R710. I do have a lot more RAM than that. I have 144 gigs, and mine came with 6 2-terabyte drives. Yeah, there we go. All right, what are we picking? Yeah, the Aurora Lights. Yeah, Northern Lights. Thank you. I have that. I have higher specs, but it's a good machine. It's a good machine, hands down, especially if you get a good deal on it, for sure. It's a good machine. I agree. Cowstub, yes, it's good. Just in time, open source channel. How's it going? Good to see you. Software at another streamer says the opposite at the power consumption. Sure. I mean, you're paying for a 10, 12-year-old machine, maybe even more. And servers are going to draw a lot of power. That's just how they are. It's kind of hard to get around that. If it's, unless it's designed to be a low power server. But there are many aspects to it. So you asked if it was a good device. Yes, it's a good device. Does it draw a lot of power? Sure. At low settings or idle, it draws a decent amount. I have that server downstairs. Yeah, you guys are going crazy on the point value. Thank you for one, accruing those points, and two, spending them. And thank you to my code for working. Hopefully it continues to work. Simon, how's it going? Good to see you. Big Red Rusty, welcome. Castle, yo. How's it going? Software rat, good. Cowstub, I like this one. Yeah, it's a low point value right now. So this is Tokyo Nights. I like them all. No one picks the Hawaiian Sunset. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's a little bit too schmoozy or something. But that one's pretty bright. But anyways, hey, Tinker Food, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. We should hear that too. Oh man, you guys racked up all these points. Oh, there we go. I think maybe. Oh, we keep going back to that. No, I don't remember what it is. It's a more orangish one. I think that's the Hawaiian Sunset. Thank you for the follow, Tinkerfoo. You guys are going to burn your points, and then it's going to be harder to get 1,000 points. But burn them all. You guys earned them. Go crazy. I don't care. You earned them. And I lowered the point value today so that people can just start taking advantage of some of the stuff that I've been building. Heyo, Techno, how's it going, man? Easy TSA, how's it going? Good to see you. Hakuyer, just bought a Ubiquiti AP, gonna virtualize pfSense and play with this weekend. That sounds like an awesome weekend project. Combination of hardware and software. I love it. I love it. That's what I like too. Combination of hardware and software. Not all hardware, not all software. It's like get some hardware, get some software to be able to do something awesome. It's kind of my thing. But yeah, that sounds awesome. Which AP did you get? I'm sure the AC Pro or something like that. Software rat, yes, 250 includes transco costs, UPS. Yeah, for sure. That's I think that's a decent deal. I paid probably a little over twice that, and I got 6 2TB drives. I got some of the higher end CPUs. 2 of them, and then I also got 144 gigs of RAM. But I bought mine all in one. I was just like, nope, max it mostly out and give it to me, because I didn't have time to like mess around and try to find or buy the wrong parts. But I mean, that seems like a decent deal to me. Yeah, and the others will have to let you know, because I looked in the used market and it was just flooded with stuff, and I was just like a little overwhelmed, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to spend hours like digging through this. I need to find something that will just work on day one, because I had some stuff I needed to migrate fast. But yeah, it sounds awesome. Tinkerfu, yeah, I made it. Yes, you did. Isa Roy Uri. Oh man, that one's hard. Esa Roar. I'm just gonna say hello. Let me know how to pronounce your name, because I would love to. I like to figure out how to pronounce difficult things. Sometimes they're acronyms and I try to pronounce them forever and everyone's like, oh, it stands for this. So I'm like, whatever. Whoops. But yeah, let me know. Takano, I will never financially recover from the 10K I spent at the start. I don't think you ever will. I don't think anyone ever will. Unless you're monetizing something within your stack, you'll never. I mean, maybe you earn it back in knowledge and learning and skill set, but cash, most likely not. I mean, even if you try to monetize something in there, yeah, hopefully you're making enough to cover the electricity cost. And even that's super hard. So then you have to go above and beyond electricity cost to then recoup anything, even $1. If you could recoup $1, I think you're pretty good. If you break even on electricity, you're doing awesome. You're doing awesome. But man, that's a lot of money up front, Takano. Man, you went all in. Let's see here. Tinkerfu, hey Tim, thanks for the content you provided up until now. Just started to pimp my homeland. All right. Yeah, no problem. No problem at all. Yeah, today's video, we'll go into this. Soccer Bum, hey Tim, good video today. Just need to get my stuff set up so I can start playing. Yeah. And so this is the video. I mean, it wasn't like some big, huge reveal, but everything I've been doing in Rancher so far has been for this. Like the whole reason why I got involved with Rancher, the whole reason I started to look how to get Kubernetes running at home or just even containerization was exactly for this. And so I've kind of been hinting like, hey, my next video is or this video in the future is gonna round off a lot of my content, and that's what this was. And so nothing like groundbreaking, but for me, it's a good milestone, because now it displays, how someone can set up Rancher Kubernetes in their own home, write their own code, put that code, test their own code in their own CI pipeline, put that code inside of a Docker container, build a Docker container, push that Docker container to a registry, and then tell Kubernetes to deploy or pull that container down and put it in replace the one that's running in your infrastructure all through the internet. So yeah, for me, this was a big milestone. Most people probably thinks, another video, which I totally appreciate. But for me, it was like, whew, now I can do lots of other things. And so, yeah, it was kind of spread out over months too, because I was like, I can't just keep doing Rancher stuff all the time. People are going to go crazy. But anyways, thank you. Appreciate it. Big video for me, because it means I can do a lot more stuff now. And I've provided a track or a path for someone end to end to set this up. And it really is end to end, going all the way back to Proxmox. If you follow my video from, so build a Proxmox server, build an Ubuntu server on Proxmox, get Rancher on it, and then all the other ones, you can do exactly this. And so that's kind of what I've been doing from the beginning. That's what I set out to do, even all the way back to my first Proxmox one. I was like, I'm gonna totally tell everyone what my infrastructure is like, how I build it, how it works, and how to automate some code. So yeah, big one for me today. Hakuyer, it's the APACLR is the model, I believe. Nice, yeah, nice. I don't know the long range. I used to have a long range one. I replaced it with the Pro, not because of anything of it, but I needed like, I think 5 gigahertz at the time. And the one I had, the long range one, I can't remember. It's been so long. But anyways, it gave it, or, sold it to a buddy of mine for $20. I should have just given it to him. But I was selling it for $20, and he was like, I'll buy it. And now looking back, it was my friend. I should have just said, here you go, like $20, not worth it. But he got a heck of a deal for $20. Either way you look at it. And I just wanted someone else to like understand how awesome they were. And he was, like most people who don't use, dedicated access points are like, my internet sucks at home. And it's like, you go and, what kind of router do you have? Oh, it's the ISP provided one, or it's some model from a long time ago, or it's the all-in-ones type stuff, which there are great all-in-ones that do MIMO and stuff like that, but man, nothing beats a dedicated access point, because it's the whole once and well principle. Do one thing and do it well. And that's what access points do for the most part. Whatever brand you get, I can say that most access points, dedicated ones, are gonna destroy all-in-ones for the most part. That's kind of a blanket statement, but I stand behind that. Maria, hello, how's it going? Good to see you. Welcome, haven't seen you in a while. Software Rat and German streamer made a song request streaming tool plus decent GUI for channel points. It's really cool. Awesome. Yeah, that's actually a good idea. Yeah, that's awesome. This was my first foray into channel points. It's a bot that I wrote that's running behind the scenes. That's in my channel. He's doing a ton of stuff, but he actually, when you spend points, he goes and he communicates with my IoT stuff and tells them change color, do all this, set the scene, fade in, fade out. It's pretty complicated, but that's awesome on song request. I've always considered it, but I have to. It's kind of hard in song requests, at least for me, because like I try to play by the book. And so I play, DMC free or royalty free, whatever you want to call it, music on my stream, so that one, my stream doesn't get muted, and then two, just because I kind of play by the book. That's my thing. I'm a lawful good. I think that's my personality, like Superman. He's a lawful good. But anyways, that's awesome. Maybe someday I can build some kind of UI so people can spend points on song requests too. But for the most part, mine's just background music, and it's all like stream safe music, I guess you should say. And I'll totally push it's from Harris Heller. Like every time someone brings up music, I'm like, Harris Heller. Yeah, he's awesome music, totally free for anything. Asks nothing in return except for to play it and share it. And that's where a lot of my music comes from both on stream live and in my bots too. So yeah. Oh, here we go. Here's how to pronounce it. Hesaruri. Okay, Hesaruri. When I see R-I, I always want to do the Japanese ri. So Hesaruri. That's how I'd say in Japanese. But all right, thank you so much for helping me pronounce that. Hesa. Oh, I want to just say Hesaruri. I'll say that. Takano, the 10K channel points on the lights. Is it 10K? No, I thought I lowered it to 1,000. Oh, I'm sorry. I see what you said. Yeah, you totally burned them. Yeah, I know. As soon as I'm sorry, man. But dude, you're in here all the time. You'll have 1,000 by the next time I even think about it. I totally thought you meant 10K on your home lab, not 10K points. All right, Monopoly money. I gotcha. No way in hell do I have 10K to spend on hardware, sadly. Yeah, I don't either. And if I had it, I don't think I would spend it on hardware. You know, I might, but I'd find deals for sure. I get the best value. That's me too. I'm always a value play here. Wolf Norik, hi Tim. My weekend project is installing IP cameras and setting up object recognition and alerts with TensorFlow. Awesome. Awesome. So you're doing TensorFlow, you're doing machine learning stuff. That is awesome. Play with TensorFlow once. I think that's Big Google. But that is super awesome. And that, again, combines a couple of things like, hey, you have hardware, these cameras, and you're going to set those up. And at the same time, you're going to combine it with, software, which is going to be TensorFlow, which is, machine learning algorithms, which is awesome. That sounds super awesome. I have done very little with machine learning. I should do more. But that sounds fun. What kind of cameras did you get? What kind of system are you using? Are you Blue Iris fan like a lot of people, or did you go something else? On the soccer bum, I do, trying to figure out drive storage right now. Nice. See here, I'm gonna get caught up. Has anyone TeamSpeak 3 Docker software? I don't. I should check it out at some point because that's come up before. But I will. You know what? I will write it down because I used to be a huge TeamSpeak fan. It was one of the first workloads I ran in one of my home labs. Docker. It was one of the first workloads I ran in my home labs because a couple of friends and I were all playing Battlefield, 1942, and we needed a TeamSpeak server, and like no one wanted to run it on their machine because it took resources. Not that it took much, but back in the day. So anyways, I will look, and if you're in our Discord, I will totally post it in there because we have a Docker channel in our Discord. So I will look. Livestream, Dream server worth 10K to count on my 2 PowerEdge 710 cost me about $600. That sounds like a super good deal, especially if they're maxed out or at least came with more than just CPUs. Docker version 1809 Rancher 235 is a combination that works for me, but when I try to upgrade it, it breaks. Rancher gets stuck on pre-polling images, so sad. Do you have any ideas? Been reading a lot about how to get around it with no joy. What are your versions? So Easy TSA, man, follows are rolling in, and I apologize. I need to turn up my notification. There we go. So we had a couple there real quick. That's Humbug. Thanks so much for the follow. Welcome. Forsaken Jack. Thanks for the follow. Welcome. So Easy TSA. So I run, now I'm on, I think, Rancher 247. And I run Ubuntu 2004 LTS. My Docker version is 1903, I think. 1903.12 or something. And so, and I think a couple of people have pointed this out that in Rancher's documentation online, they say to use, a certain combination, probably Ubuntu, the previous version, 1810 or 1804, and they say to use Docker, 1809. But then they also say they have install scripts in their GitHub repo. And so if you go in there, you can find their install scripts for newer versions of Docker. But anyways, long story short, those are the combinations that I'm working. 235 is a little bit of an older version. Sometimes you have to look at the release notes because there might be breaking changes. And just to kind of peel this all the way back, at first do backups of this stuff, right? Because if something goes wrong, it's easy to restore. Backup, however you want to do backups. Rancher has a way to back up, but virtual machines have a way to back up. So it's easy to get back to where you were right before you did the thing. Then if you've done that and you upgrade, I would definitely look at the release notes, especially if you're on 235 and 247's out right now. I don't think I would jump directly to 247 and hopefully you're pinning your Docker image to a tag instead of latest too. So those are all good tips. So my process usually is stop my Docker container, back up my Rancher, upgrade my look at the latest version, the tagged version, see if there are any breaking changes from the prior version. Cause sometimes they'll say breaking change, but you have to run this command, right? And then I'll check that. If nothing changed or broke, I'll upgrade the tag, spin up a new container, and start it back up. And it's worked well. And I've gone from 235 all the way up to 247 now. But that's kind of my process. And I have some of that documented in a video too. So if you're curious about how to upgrade, restore, backup, I have a video and documentation on there. Let's see, software rack. A big problem there is I have no server rack. I had that problem too. And then I bought a server rack. So yeah, there's some decent ones out there. You can find one or you can buy one. If you want to buy one, I have some recommendations down below in the gear icon. Takano, let's see. Check used ones market. I found 24 U ones go for around $50. Yeah, that's a super good deal. It's hard to find right now, at least in my area. Someone was selling 2 Dell ones, and then selling 2 Dell ones, and I ended up contacting him as the day after, and I was like, I will give you exactly what you want, because most of the time people are trying to lowball, and they said, sorry, just got rid of them yesterday for half price. So they basically got buy one, get one free on these things. I was like, oh man. Mr. Proggle, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it, welcome. The Guyana from Proxmox are living in my country, but they came from Switzerland. From Proxmox? Oh, the people from Proxmox? That one's a little bit confusing me. You have to explain. Golenda, that looks like a new name. Hi Tim, just finished my build of my home server Thursday at 3900 Asus Prime 570 X570 megabytes, 64 gigs of RAM, 6 8 terabyte NAS drives, 2 ZFS VDEVs, and 2 terabytes in a RAID. Proxmox is running on a 500 gig SSD. Man, sounds like you got a beast of a system. That is awesome. That is awesome. All new too, and I love that it's on consumer grade stuff, because that's my thing, you know. So that's awesome. Congratulations to you. What's the first virtual machine you installed, or what's the first container you spun up after you got it going? Let me know. Castle, my dad never wants to buy a router and complains about the speeds. He has an all-in-one. Yeah. I know how that goes. Yep. Same here. I have so many friends right now that are like, my wireless sucks. I need to buy like this beast mode all-in-one, and I'm like, and a couple of friends I've just been like, hey, buy this. You know, it's been the Unify AC Pro, and we'll install it and get it going. Because once you go with that, and I know. So here in my home, I probably have 30, 40 devices on wireless. And then on top of that, I actually bridge my wireless from here to my garage, because I have a detached garage. And that thing has 3 cameras attached to it, and it does it all day long, 365, and it is rock solid, like 0 problems. And I have them bridged, and they're so solid. I mean, they're transferring terabytes of data, you know, in a month or whatever, just because, you know, 3 1080p streams going all day long eats up some bandwidth, and it just does it without a hitch and without complaining. So yeah, it's so awesome. Let's see. Takano already gained 1K since last time, so I'm good. Eventually I'll recover. Yeah, you can trigger off 10 in a row if you want once you get there. Big Red Rusty, I finished my network build today. Nice. Use the newer Ubiquiti 8-port PoE Lite. Runs cool 2 APs, 2 AP AC Pros, and 4 Mini Flex to split it around the home. Just missing the small form factor PC for pfSense. Man, you guys are building some awesome stuff this weekend. That is awesome. Love hearing about you guys' projects, especially on a Saturday. Like, what better day to start or finish a project? You know, Saturday. Saturday morning. Well, might be morning for some, not for me, but just Saturday mornings that's my jam. Just to kind of get started on something. A Fantex Pro 2, that's your case? Nice, yeah, super nice. CalStub, my weekend project is setting up a home lab and starting a Radius network and monitoring server and billing services. Wow, you're going all in. So Radius, so you're getting 802.11 authentication, I think that is. It's been a while since I've done any kind of network stuff. And network monitoring, that's awesome. What network monitoring system are you using? Billing services? Okay, so you're probably setting up, if I can just guess, you're probably setting up an internet hotspot for a cafe or something and charging people for internet. Just looking at those things, I'm just guessing. Let me know. Craven, why don't you self-host your GitLab instance? Yeah, good question. Reliability. That's about all it is, and complexity. Yeah, so I've been using GitLab for a long time, like when they were new. And they were the first one to give private repos. I think Jira, Atlassian, they own what? Bitbucket, I think they did too, or maybe they flip-flopped after GitLab did. GitLab's offered private and registry, private container registry and CI for a long time. So yeah, it all boils down to complexity and how much I want to manage at home. I could, and I could totally do it, but it kind of, I don't know, doesn't scare me, but at the same time, it's nice to not have to worry about all of my source code since the beginning of time in GitLab, like being on myself. Even though I have so much data floating around here, that's way more critical, and Git itself is a distributed, system. So if something went down, I could push all my commits back up as long as I have them somewhere. But it's complexity, really. And maybe I will sometime. I kind of hinted in that last video that like, hey, you could even do this yourself. So, maybe we'll see that in the future. And then, GitLab has their open source version versus their commercial version. They give some features in their commercial version. To be honest, I couldn't tell you without looking at their matrix to say these are the features you get in the free and these are the features you get in the self-hosted versus them hosted. So I'm probably using some of them, but not a lot. And I don't know. I've just been a fan of GitLab stuff, and maybe someday though. Maybe someday. How about you, Craven? Do you even use GitLab? I know Gitea is one that people talk about a lot too. So I don't know much about Gitea, but that seems to be another crowd favorite too. Golenda. I started with Corsair case, but I had to upgrade. To the Fantex case. Hi everyone, Home Lab New. How's it going? Software Rat. The problem at the Twitch tool is he cannot automate the way of a song is not found channel points and cannot automate. So the guy has XYZ his points because of a Twitch scope that he has and risk to be blocked at Twitch. Yeah. You got to set up your scopes right for sure. When you get your auth token for sure. But yeah, music channel points request system sounds awesome. I mean, Streamlabs had that for a long time, but to do it with now native channel points sounds really cool too. Crack Mac, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Looks like I missed one. Whole lot of K's in there. Chaos Ninja. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Sorry I missed you. Welcome to both of you. Let's see here. Oh yeah, getting my Discord stuff. Wolf Norik, how's it going? Hey, I want to check out Verizon or Frigate. They are real RTSP streams from the camera. Do object recognition and send the MQTT messages. Then integrate it with Home Assistant. I'm running some cheap generic IP cams. Awesome. Yeah, I'm running some pretty cheap generic IP cams too. I mean, they have a brand, but it's like a brand no one heard of. But that sounds really, really sweet. Because I have object detection now with Blue Iris, but I don't have like person or face detection. I think that's something there might be an open source version, but it's kind of interesting how it works. I think it works off thumbnails, so it doesn't send the whole video, and we'll compare thumbnails of that video, but I don't know how it works. I should look at it too. But yeah, that's awesome. Oh, Wolf Norik, yeah, you're speaking my language now. Both can be run in a Docker container. That is awesome. So Viseron, I said Verizon because I thought you had a typo. So Viseron or Frigate, I think it's Frigate. Awesome. I'll have to check those two out for sure. Because I use Blue Iris now. Doesn't mean I always will. And I'm always interested in security software that can run in a Docker container because nothing against Windows, but that's a Windows dedicated machine that I have to just, provide care and feeding for all by itself for, and it's just not like the rest of my infrastructure. I'll put it that way. So I have to do different things, and I'd like to do same things for all my infrastructure. But yeah, thanks for sharing for sure. Golenda, Ubuntu Server 2004 was my first VM, and True Core. Probably TrueNAS Core was my second. Nice. Virtualizing TrueNAS Core. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Awesome. So man, you're off to the races now. Just got your first VM, Ubuntu, and now getting a TrueNAS Core. Yeah, it sounds like an awesome weekend. A lot of learning going on over there. Ghosty. GitLab offers a container, and I run on Kubernetes. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, so GitLab offers their own Kubernetes too, and they offer a Kubernetes engine. You can put containers in there too. Yeah, and I've always considered going that route. But the route I go is mainly because the path it's vendor free. It's not locking me into a vendor. And so some people probably will ask in GitLab, well, hey, GitLab, Rancher out of the box supports, GitLab workloads and runners. Why didn't you use that? And I just go back to like, I don't want to like vendor lock. So the way that I set mine up will work with any Kubernetes provider, any cloud provider, and like any CI, well, besides the runner piece, but I'm not like doing Rancher's OAuth to GitLab and spinning up a runner that way. I'm spinning up a runner in my own infrastructure as if I was in any cloud or any Kubernetes or any Docker. So yeah, for sure. Like I know they offer that for free. I've never done it. I want to sometime, but at the same time, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to do it like the public internet way and not the GitLab way. But it's so awesome that they provide Kubernetes and offer, hosting containers within it. Cause I'm a huge fan of GitLab. I've been for a long time. Huge fan. Not only because of private repos, but because they're basically full stack DevOps, and it's awesome. And I'm sure everyone, like when they came out, everyone probably scoffed or laughed, like, how are you going to go up against, GitHub? And they showed how they go up against GitHub. They integrate CI, they integrate container registry, they integrate package registries. And now GitHub is scrambling to do the same thing, because if you were on GitHub, your options were what? Your own CI, Travis or Circle CI or something else. And now what? GitHub has, I don't know what they call them, workloads, but basically CI built in. But yeah, it's so awesome. So awesome to think about and how far they've come. But yeah, awesome too. I would love to pick your brain sometime about how to do that in GitLab. Because I just do mine the plain old Kubernetes way. But yeah, let's see here. Nicolop. Hey, what's up? How's it going? Good to see you. I'm Lymanson. Is anyone looking to get the new NVIDIA graphic card for their home lab to play video games on a virtual server? Possibly. Possibly. I've been thinking about it, but I think only the 3090 has the new tech in it to where you can virtualize it. I mean, outside of the way I do it normally, which is, passing through the GPU, blocking the drivers, like all that stuff. I've heard that on the 3090, you won't have to do all that. And I think it's going to be a feature and probably part of the reason why it costs $1,500. But yeah, I would love to. I think I'm going to get a 3080 at some point, possibly, mainly to replace what I have in here as a 1080, because I'm going to leapfrog over 2. And I knew that when I bought my 10. Well, I knew that shortly. I bought a 20 series. I ended up returning it. Long story short, I decided I'm going to wait for 30 series. So now that 30 series here, this is a huge leap in tech and performance for me. But if it makes sense and I can do something with the 3090, I could throw it in my server for a little bit and give it a test run and see how it works. But yeah, it sounds awesome. They haven't released a ton of info on it other than like, hey, it supports some kind of technology that allows you to actually virtualize it. Hey, Finral, thank you for the follow, appreciate it. Craven, I use GitHub. I messed around with GitLab one night after work a while back, but I had a little bit of trouble getting a container registry to work in a container. I should probably look back at some point. Yeah, I mean, both awesome products. But like, years ago when I was like I said, like I wanted CI for my stuff and I wanted container registries for Docker to store my builds. They had it all built in. So I'm like, this is awesome. I don't have to go, pick and choose all these different services from different people and possibly pay fees at each, site, or make my closed sourced code open source in order to get it free. It was an awesome fit for me. Hakuyer, thinking about getting a NAS. Any recommendations? Getting a NAS? Buying one? My recommendation is to build one. I don't have any, turnkey solutions like Synology or anything out there like that I can recommend because I've never tried them. So I think, tough to say. But if you're looking for hardware recommendations, I got some below in the gear link. How cool your QNAP or Synology for off-the-shelf stuff would be a recommendation. There you go, exactly what I was saying. Build your own. Yes, yeah, I'm liking this. I like where this is going. Craven, also, I recently started using Unify Protect, and it's pretty solid. At the rate you are growing, Unify will be sending you hardware in no time. I don't know. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I would have to, yeah, I would love to do more Unify stuff. I have 2 access points now. I use Unify, their network. I'm not using Protect. I'm using XG Firewall. So Unify, if you're listening, this is, you know, I might be able to replace my XG Firewall. I'm just kidding. They're not watching. They have no idea who I am. But anyways, I would love to. I would love to see what it's all about. And I look at the hardware and I just like drool over it because it looks awesome. And especially they're like, I've shared this like 3 or 4 times internally at work and externally on social media, like their whole like AR to be able to like look at your switch. And long story short, I think they have one of the most practical AR implementations on a mobile out there. Sure, on the Target app, I can see what this table looks like in my room, or sure, I can make avatars appear in my house and act like I'm fighting them in other camera apps or whatever. Same with Snapchat. But with Ubiquity's AR utility, you scan that barcode and you can look and see every single port activity, the port details, and see what's plugged into it. That's awesome, and that's super practical. But yeah, thank you. Skal, how's it going? Hey folks, Tinkerfu. Need to watch the Proxmox install video again. No idea where the VMs will be stored and how to move that location to a different volume. Yeah, basically when you create your volume, you say what the types of things you want stored on that volume, and that could be virtual machines. Wolf Norek, depends on what you need. If you want to learn and play, then go FreeNAS, Open Media Vault. If you just need a NAS, Synology, QNAP, I think those are great recommendations for sure. Yep, because if you want to build, host your own, 2 fine recommendations. You want to buy, also 2 fine recommendations for sure. NCIS Legend just got here. Today I added my Gitea instance, drone, CI/CD, and it actually worked. I got inspired by a video today, but wanted to do it completely in my house. Yes, awesome. And I'm a huge fan of drone. I've been a fan of drone for a long time because it works exactly like GitLab CI. Who knows? Behind the scenes, I don't know what GitLab's using to run their CI, but I love drone, and I recommend drone anytime someone's doing a GitHub thing or a some other source control and they need CI. I say, yeah, drone's awesome. We used it at a company I used to work at. A lot of people internally hated it, but I think it's just because they were so used to Jenkins, and I'm like, Jenkins. And I get it, Jenkins now into they run Docker containers and all that stuff, but my idea of Jenkins prior to that was like your build server had to have every single dependency installed all the time, 15 versions of .NET, 15 versions of Java, and it was a nightmare to manage. And so I know it's not like that now because they switched to Docker containers, but that's how it was. And so like Drone and GitLab CI were like, no, we're doing Docker images in our pipeline. So every single step of your pipeline, you can be like, I want to use node 12. Next step. All right, I want to use node 1. Next step, I want to use node 20, whatever. And they were all Docker containers. So you were standing up that Docker container and executing that line inside of the container. Anyways, you know this stuff if you're using drone. So I'm a huge fan of drone. Don't know enough about Gitea, but I was just saying before you got here, you just said you just got here, that seems to be another crowd favorite too. So I definitely need to be more educated on that. Hakuyer, yeah, I really don't know. Have an old PC on hand at the moment, so just a NAS would be best. Yeah, I agree. And if you don't want to get into that and manage all that, yeah, for sure, buy one. There are plenty of awesome ones out there. Synology has a few with stronger processor and RAM upgrade options. Yeah, for sure. But they can be expensive. That's where I keep going back to. You need to buy the discs too. Yeah, they're going to be expensive, But at the same time, when you buy a Synology or QNAP, you're paying for the software and services too, combined with it. And so some people will scoff and say, "Oh, they're so expensive." Not that you were, but some people, I say it, and I always forget that. Oh yeah, like. There are tons of services that are built in there. They're constantly updating them. It has tons of compatibility, and so that costs something too. Like that's valuable to someone who buys it. not valuable to me because if I got it, I would make it as dumb as possible and run all the services in my own infrastructure. But that's just me. Some people don't want to think about that stuff. Some people don't want to think about how do I back up all my machines? How do I sync? How do I stand up a Docker infrastructure and run containers? Like, QNAP and Synology, I think both have those things. So yeah, good points both ways. And there we go. Penguin Airlines. Yeah, most Synology is probably the most turnkey though. Yeah, I totally agree. Techno Tim, Cowstub. Sorry, I have to leave your stream. Need to finish work. Sunday, 2 a.m. See you in Discord. Yeah, hey, thanks for hanging out. You were chomping at the bit, I think, yesterday too. So, man, good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chatting. Sorry it's so late, but thanks for making it for sure. Oh, here we go. Penguin Airlines. Yeah, he brings up Gitea a lot. Also need a free pull mirror solution where we couldn't find one. Yeah, we talked about this in GitHub and we were going back and forth and back and forth. I think at some point I'm just going to either create or find a Docker container that can sync to repos. Because that's all you need to do, right? You need to just, you need one container that monitors both repos and it will do a, git pull, merge and git push or whatever, git pull, git push to either repo whenever there's a change. It's probably a lot more complicated than I'm making it, especially for conflict resolution. But if you're only mostly going one way, it should be pretty easy. We should write that. We should script that. It'd be fun. Let's see here. NCIS Legend. Yeah, I had one. I had to implement 2 sidecars. Okay, one for drone server and one for drone runner. Awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, their mirror functionality is great. Used it for concurrent group projects. Awesome. Tinkerfoo at Techno Tim. Just a question. Do you use hardware or software RAID? Yeah, it's a good question. I use both. Sorry, I have to take drink breaks or like my throat will be, it'll be dry. But anyways, I use both. I know that's probably not the answer you want to hear, but I use both. And I use both primarily because of drive compatibility and drive space. And it's the way that I have my infrastructure set up. And it's not because I really want to, it's just because it works best that way. So I run a RAID 10 or 0+1, whatever you want to call it, that has 6 SSDs in it. And that's storage only for my virtual machines. And that's on a physical RAID. Mainly because I can't put that controller in IT mode, therefore I can't use ZFS or something like that. So I use a hardware RAID there. But everything else, software, all the way, ZFS for sure. And that's, like I said, special case, because my R710, I don't have any more drive spaces that I can plug things in, and it came with a hardware RAID controller that can't be flashed into IT mode. Otherwise it would. But it works fantastic. Stupid Gamer, could you maybe make a how-to on how to set up authentication, for example, Discord, Google, GitHub to access certain subdomain? Interesting. It depends. So it depends. Probably doable. So if you've looked or followed my guide on how to set up traffic and how to protect services, traffic might have middleware that can do that. And so, yeah, that's all I can think of right now. Like, I mean, there are tons of ways, and most of the time, like, so you're saying secure a whole entire subdomain with two-factor auth or with a third-party OAuth provider, which kind of, it may work. I would look at traffic. So if you want to do that wholesale, top level, before it even hits that domain, I would look at traffic and see if there's middleware. But I would challenge you to see those services that are running behind there to see if they have OAuth capabilities there, because that's the best way to go, I think, personally. And I know the easy way is just to say, well, every subdomain that I have, I want to put two-factor auth behind it. But then the service behind it might have its own ability to do that two-factor auth. So I can take a look, because I need to familiarize myself more with traffic middleware and see if there's something there. I know that traffic has, I think we looked it up in Discord one day, traffic has like middleware OAuth for basic auth, or middleware for basic authentication. So I would assume that they may or may not have middleware for third-party auth. So yeah, I would look at that. If not, I would, whatever service you're running behind there, hopefully has a way to do OAuth as well. Ghosty, is there not something built in GitLab to sync two repositories? There is, but I think that's a paid feature. I think for mirroring. And Penguin Airlines and I talked about this for a long time, and that's a paid feature. So at least if you're using the SaaS version, the hosted version by them. I don't know if the open source version, self-hosted open source version provides that for free. But yeah, that's a premium feature from them, at least in their hosted version. Tinkerfu, I have QNAP running for almost 7 years now without any issues. Has a nice user-friendly UI and updates. Yeah, I love it. And I also love it when people keep their software up to date, especially when you buy hardware 7 years ago and you're still getting updates from them. That's awesome. That is so awesome. And they haven't like deprecated stuff and said like, sorry, like you need to buy a newer model in order to update firmware or software. Yeah, I love it. And so again, that goes back to what I was saying about, yeah, some devices, you know, the upfront cost might look like they're kind of expensive, but here, you know, you've been getting software updates from this service, from this hardware you bought from 7 years ago. And I don't even think Apple does that. Apple doesn't update their $1,000 phones from 7 years ago. You know, you get put on an island after about 4 or 5, I think. I don't know. Maybe it's longer than that, but that's good news. And that's awesome that that company is doing that and continue to update firmware and software within a hardware device you bought a while ago. I'm Lymanson. Large number of people are letting things like TrueNAS deal with software RAID, and you pass through disk controllers directly to TrueNAS. For sure. Bloodpack. What RAID controller do you use in your R710? The PERC 8 something? And there might be a hack to do it in IT mode. I would love to know. So let me know, Bloodpack. I think it's the PERC 8. I can't remember. I'd have to look. I've looked at it like 3 times. Because once I get it set up, I just don't even, you know, it's out of sight, out of mind. But yeah, it's the PERC something 8. It's not I don't remember. I'd have to look at my specs, but I'll put it in Discord if you're there. Cause I would love to know, like if I can get it into IT mode, I would. Corporate reality, have you tried to set up Traffic 2 through Rancher? Seems complicated. Well, Traffic 1 was complicated. Corporate reality, good question. I get that question a lot on that video. It's like, why did you use Traffic 1 when Traffic 2 is out? And that's mainly because Traffic's Helm chart that's in the Helm charts repo still points to 1.73 or something like that. And so to try to not make that video in my infrastructure any more complicated, I just went with what the Helm chart version said. And I've looked at 2, and I'm not sure what I get from 2 that I wouldn't get from 1, at least for my purposes, to introduce that kind of complexity. So yeah. Hey, Galinda, thank you for gifting a sub to I'm Lymanson. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, I got my gifted star spinning back there. Oh, thank you. It was very kind. But yeah, yeah, not sure. I haven't done anything with Traffic 2. Like I said, Helm chart was pointing to 1. I was like, this is what everyone says in documentation, like, and I want to follow documentation. Maybe someday I'll move it to 2, but I'm kind of going to wait for the Helm chart to move to 2 too. Fissler, hey, NCIS Legend, subscribe for Prime. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Mr. Fizzlert, hey Tim, how do you change kube control default localhost port 8080 to your suggested 9090? Oh yeah, this goes all the way back to setting up Rancher, and so I think I see where you're going. So when you set up Rancher for the first time, you can set up ports. And so I think those ports, Rancher will actually pass through to the Kubernetes API so that they're using kind of the same ports. I don't know if they do a pass through or what they do, but basically when you set it up for the first time, you have to choose different ports. And so in the documentation for that Rancher video, I have an example command. If you look in the docs of, it's copy pasta that you can copy and paste, and it sets up, port 80 on 9090 and HTTPS and 9091. And so you'll see it in there, and that should change the ports. And you can do that later too, I think. Might be tough. I'll have to do some fact checking. I think you can change the ports later though. It should be fine. It's the certificates that get really hard to change later, which I ran into. But anyways, yeah, let me know. Should be right there in the docs. Corporate reality. Also, any type of forward auth for something like Keycloak. Another great question. I set mine up with GitHub. I may look at Keycloak soon. I know it's super popular. I just want to make sure, like I do with most of my videos, that one, I understand it enough. And two, that it's a solid recommendation. And I know it's like the new hotness right now. And I'm sure it's totally fine. I just need to understand it a little bit more before I do. And plus I wanted to do it on a broader, like a broader topic than just how to implement it for Rancher. So in my Rancher video, I implemented GitHub there for my OAuth provider for my Rancher UI, only because like I didn't want to, okay, in this video, now let's also set up, Keycloak. I kind of wanted to save that for its own topic. And then, then you can mix and match. Because in that video, I say, hey, you can use GitHub, but if you have Keycloak, if you have whatever, Google, Azure AD, use that here. And so, yeah, I think I will. It's definitely the new hotness, and I want to look at it. There's a couple new hotnesses that I just need to get around to. And now that this series is I'm rounded off a part of this series, I can open the doors and open the floodgates for other things that are totally not even related. But yeah, great question though. It's coming. Glenda, I'm Lymanson. Oh, this is I'm Lymanson. I'm using a Dell H310 6 gigabit SAS HBA LSI in IT mode. Card works and I can pass it through. Perfect. Yeah, I wish I had. The 310 is the one that people say to get because it's easy to flash with IT mode. I don't even want to go into what I have again because I can't remember. I could look at it real quick, but I get distracted if I look at other screens. But I'll post it in Discord because I would love to. Penguin Airlines, yes, as Tim said, poll mirror, paid feature. Yep, you can push free though. I guess those guys want to let you use it for free enough to make your main platform and lock you in. Yeah. Yep. I think they're just like, they give away so much for free. They were like one of the first to give away private repos, and I'm sure every other source code management platform was like, are you guys crazy? But they're not because they made it work. I'm Lymanson doing something like that too. You have a Dell HBA 330. Nice. So you can flash that in IT mode. Yeah, I need to figure out if I can flash mine in IT mode. My hardware RAID's working fine. The nice part about I'd like to use ZFS for many reasons, but the nice part about not using ZFS, at least for this RAID, is I don't have to give it a ton of RAM. All the caching is handled by my hardware RAID. Yeah, not ideal, but again, it's my virtual machine virtual drives that are all running on there, but I have very low visibility on those drives. And I don't get all of the nice things of ZFS, but I don't have to use a ton of RAM either. CrackMac, I think syncing repos is pretty easy with a post and commit script like git pull and push upstream master. Yeah, exactly, CrackMac. We were talking about that, and we were talking about writing that script and then just putting it in a Docker container and just monitoring, just basically doing a git pull on each repo and then doing that. But yeah, I totally agree. But I think what Penguin Airlines was looking was set it and forget it, don't think about it, just work all the time, like a mirroring feature would give you. But yeah, that is awesome. But I think he's going one way too, so it's even easier than I guess I'm making it sound. Fire Warrior TV. Hey, that looks like a new name. Hi Tim, thanks for the videos. I don't have any infrastructure at my home yet, but interesting nonetheless. Thank you. Yeah, I think you have some. I think people think. You have some infrastructure. You probably have a router, a network. You know what I mean? But you don't have server like infrastructure type stuff. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, but don't discount, not having infrastructure because, I mean, Raspberry Pi could be your infrastructure. Oh, yeah, someone's redeeming those. Oh, and they keep coming. Man, people like the Tokyo Nights. I need to come up with something similar to Tokyo Nights because they're like, yes, Tokyo Nights. And they're like, oh, it's already on Tokyo Nights. But anyways, thanks for redeeming the points. But yeah, Fire Warrior, thanks for stopping in and yeah, commenting. I'd love to hear more about what you're planning or what you might be doing. That would be interesting to hear for sure. Blood Pack 81, perk 810, then you can for sure switch to IT mode. Perk 6i, you can't switch to. Search for the art of server on YouTube and how to flash to IT mode. I might be going to IT mode then. Thank you, Blood Pack. Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't know. I've never done it. Definitely not against doing it or figuring it out. I've never done it, so I need to do it. Hopefully next time you guys talk to me, I will have mine in IT mode. For many reasons. And I do have to check which RAID adapter I have. I should be better about that stuff, but like I bought the server 6 months ago, it was more than that now. It was almost a year ago now. I think I bought it in October of last year. But like I said, once I set that stuff up, it's just kind of, out of sight, out of mind. I should look. And plus I rarely buy RAID adapters anyway, and it came in it. So I should look at it. Aussie Boy, hello. How's it going, Aussie Boy? Mr. Fizzlord, I'll try it out. Tickerfoo, the R720 XD have a perk H710P. They could be flashed in IT mode, but somehow I'm somewhat skeptical / insecure. I don't want to make my machine unusable, so I went for the hardware RAID. It's a good point too, because if I screw this up, I'll be in trouble. And not in trouble like, oh man, I need to go buy another RAID adapter and I got to wait for that for a week. It'll be like I have, whatever, 8 or 9 virtual machines right now that are not running or that are running on some hardware I don't want them to run on. But yeah, I'm there with you. I might save switching to IT mode for the next build or rebuild of my server, because then at least I planned. This is, not, this will kind of be planned maintenance, but it's creating maintenance for myself. Sweet Marks, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Denny, 111, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. US Barb, I don't think I saw that one. Didn't pop up, maybe it did, but hey, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Welcome everyone for sure. Let's see here. Seiko Moon, how to face fear to learn things that looks intimidating. Yeah, good question. I think I'm gonna need eye drops soon because my eye is killing me. And it was doing this last stream too, and I don't want it to like interfere, and I gotta curb it, gotta get ahead of it. Good question, how to face your fear for things that look intimidating. I just say go for it. There have been many times in my career, personal life, where I'm just like intimidated. I don't want to do something either because of some standard I put on myself, afraid to fail, afraid what other people will think. And then after you do it, you're just kind of like, what was I so scared of to begin with? Fortunately, with software, it's not forgiving, but it's easy to redo. So with software stuff, if you're doing it at home and trying to learn, most of it is easily reversible. So, and so you can reverse the things that you made mistakes on, unlike in real life. So if it's something to do with hardware and software, I just say go for it. Go for it. If you mess up, that's part of learning, because then you figure out what you did wrong or you figure out how to fix it. And if you're not in IT or thinking about getting IT, that's your entire life, is trying something, planning for something, having something go wrong, even though you plan for everything, you think, and then something goes wrong, and then you have to figure out what it is, reverse it, and then fix it, do it right that time, and then remember not to do that thing again. That's pretty much, that sums up a lot of my career in IT, and software development too. So, but I say go for it. I say try it. I was really big too on watching tons of videos before I tried something. I still do that. Home repairs, I'm like, I need to watch at least 3 YouTube videos by 3 different people before I attempt this DIY home project, because that's not my thing. You know what I mean? I don't know much about plumbing, electrical, You know, I can do that stuff. But like I said, I watch tons of videos first. But at some point, if I'm gonna do it, I need to get over the fear of starting and go for it. And so, yeah, that's the only advice I can give. Watch some videos until you feel comfortable, until you maybe built up some of that knowledge or verbiage, and then go for it. I say go for it. But yeah, okay, great question. Don't be scared. I say go for it. Wolf Norek, you can buy a pre-flash perk H710. Good call. Yeah, man, because then I can just swap it out. Good call. Yeah, I can just swap it out, and if something goes wrong, go back. I like it. I like it. Hopefully they're decently priced. You know, like most stuff, you know, for a while it was like fire sale on all used enterprise stuff. Fire sale. Because no one wanted it. And now it's like they found a second market for all this stuff, and it's all of us, you know? And so now it's like no longer so much fire sale unless someone's selling the thing who really doesn't know the value of that thing, but they probably looked if other people are selling it. You know, and so a lot of times, yeah, the secondhand market is even selling stuff really expensive for used enterprise stuff that's 10, 15 years old, because they know it's still, it's like its value has gone up. I feel like, you know, value's gone up on those things, which is strange to think about. I mean, it's almost like antique stuff. And I'm not saying like this hardware is antique, but I'm saying like in antiques in general, you know, they were priced high, maybe, when they came out, then they drop because they're older, but then they hit this point where they go back up in price because they're valuable, either because they're scarce or because people want them again. And you find that stuff with retro stuff, with, you know, home interior, with clothing, all the secondhand market stuff. And it's even happening with server gear now. Like, what the heck? Anyways, but yeah, it's a great point. I should do that. Only if I can find one for a decent price, because then I'll end up with this cart. Oh, maybe I could sell that then. Yeah, I won't gouge. I promise I won't gouge if I sell mine. Big Red Rusty, I got my IBM M1 M1015 and flashed to IT mode. It's not hard, but you could break a card. I'm cool with possibly breaking stuff. I've done questionable firmware flashes on routers, like home routers, to where I even had to solder on a wire. I had to buy a soldering iron to solder on a wire to flip the LEDs, and then at the same time flash it with DDWRT. So I don't want to brick something, but I'm not afraid of it. But yeah, that's good point. Here we go. Kanik, I flashed to H710 in IT mode, working fine for me. This is all good news. Big Red Rusty, just be careful. There are plenty of fakes around, just like the Intel 4-port NICs. Another good call. Yeah, those scammers, you know, that's the worst. I mean, that's the worst for someone like me, because I would get it and I'd be so pumped and I'd be like, yep, it's going to work. And I'd probably spend like a half a day or a whole day troubleshooting my own stuff, only to realize it wasn't the real thing. And then it's like, not only did I not get the right thing, I just wasted a ton of time and probably rebuilt some system like 5 times thinking, well, if I just rebuild it, it's going to work. Yeah, so I'd love to know how to spot a fake in that area for sure. Takano may have to just convince my friend to build a Hackintosh versus buying a Mac since he wants more bang for his buck. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I know I've told you, but yeah, I used to run a Hackintosh for a long time. And it was before the new way of doing it. So it was the Clover way, Clover bootloader, which I thought was great compared to the previous, whatever it was, bootloader. And I used to run a triple boot, Mac, Windows, Linux, and it was great. Setting it up the first time, there's a certain order you need to do it so that you don't overwrite your boot drives. But I learned, okay, whenever I install the next OS, unplug the other drive, because like if I don't unplug the other drive, I just wasted 4 hours of installing and configuring that previous OS. But yeah, I should go back to triple boot someday. It was so fun. It was so complicated. I don't know, but it was fun at the same time. I mean, I have virtual machines now, so it's kind of like, okay, I don't have to wait the 5 minutes and shut down and stop everything I'm doing just to switch over to Linux. And I have a MacBook here for work. But yeah, I should go back to triple boot, make my life a little more hectic. Yeah, someone picked the Hawaii sunset. Yeah, thank you. Man, it's all orange in here. I look like I look like I put on some self tanner. And that's because I have lights back here too. So you're kind of seeing some of the reflection on me. But yeah, awesome. Um, yeah, that's awesome. I hope Hackintoshes survive when Apple switches to their system on chip. Have a feeling it won't once they deprecate all their legacy x86 apps. But that's a couple years after it launches. So, hey, Troy Way, thanks for the sub. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Usbarb, finally, I caught you. Love. Hey, finally. Hey, thank you. Thanks for catching me. Yeah, glad you're here. Hopefully it's at a decent time for you. Any blast. Hello, Tim. You were talking about blue light filtering on phones and screens a few streams back. Yeah, I was. I think my glasses have blue light filter built in. Might be an option for you as well. Yeah, I do too. These do. These are Warby Parkers. I don't know. I don't even know why I said that. But they had the option to put blue light filters in here too. But sometimes I still like to have the screen like reduce the blue light too, so that it's just, I feel more calm. So I have this scene in here that I say, I won't say it now, but I'll say set the lights to dim, prefixed with something else, and it turns all my lights, not only dims the light, but sets them to a warmer color. So I enjoy, a bright white, a bluish white in the morning, until about noon. Then I'll go about half and half. And then in the evening, I just love like a warm, super warm light that's almost orange if you came in here. Just because, I don't know, it's something, it calms me. And it's just so nice. It's like if you were working in a room that had like 100 candles, but not flickering. That's kind of what it's like in here. Sounds kind of creepy, but I promise it's not. Only Gil, hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. But yeah, good tip. I didn't get blue light filters in my last pair of glasses, which are right here, because I almost had to wear these because I couldn't find these. And that's another reason why I was late. I was running around trying to find these, but these do have some, but I still enjoy I don't know. Ever since I've been a kid, I've loved like just lighting in general. Like I would take a lamp and put it on the other side of my bedroom and turn it on just because it made my room feel different. This is all weird stuff. But like, so I've always like been, I don't know, attracted to lighting in general, if you couldn't tell. And so I love like being able to set the light, the mood lighting in here to a warmer light as well as on my screen. I just feel like, I don't know, like feel like comforting, like I want to eat some soup and I don't know. TMI? Yeah, I think so. But thank you, Annie Blast. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm always going to get the blue light filter on my glasses too, for sure, because that's just shooting into my eyeballs, which right now they're kind of irritated. So in about 5 minutes, I'm going to grab some eye drops real quick, and it'll only take me a minute. Penguin Airlines, yeah, I had just wanted something that could run my Docker on my Synology. I'm just backing up GitHub repo, so lightweight's the best. Thankfully, Gitea now supports key-based authentication, so it will be what I continue to use. Yeah, nice. Nicolop, using older Android phones can be quite fun to make in a smart home. Yeah, I used some of the older phones to have fun setting IP cameras around the home and wrote simple Node.js app to link them all up on a page to make them more accessible. That sounds really awesome. Sounds up my alley too. I love writing JavaScript. Love using Node.js. I was just using it right before stream. I was really trying to get those lights underneath or behind the couch back there to change too. And I couldn't write the code fast enough. And I was like, I don't want to break my existing stuff just to maybe get this working. And I think this is working kind of okay. Next stream, it will be even more intense. If this wasn't intense enough, the colors underneath the couch and on the side over there will also join the club of my lights. And that's using something that's not even smart. I'm making, those RGB lights that you get this remote with smart with another device and then writing the code to do it. So I don't know, maybe I'll put something out on it sometime, but it's super fun to figure out stuff. And the cool thing is, like, I can train that whole entire device, like all of these infrared codes, and train it. And it's like, yeah, now it's smart. I mean, I can do it right now with my app, but I'm like, app is fun, which is awesome because now I don't have to like to change those lights, I have to like dig around on the couch and hit the light and adjust them properly. Now I can do it in an app from my phone, but the next iteration is automate it with code. So, but yeah, it's like baby steps. But yeah, Nicola, sorry, went off on a tangent on IoT stuff, but that sounds awesome. Sounds awesome. Would love to hear more about that. Penguin Airlines, yes, don't do firmware changes on your production hardware. Yeah. I love, I don't know, this is something I might have said before, but I really enjoy firmware updates, because something about like updating the firmware, you know, it's just like the lowest level of update you can do to something sometimes. And when people release firmware updates, I'm just like, yeah, someone cares about this. That's kind of how I feel about all updates. I've met plenty of people who are like, oh, another Windows update. Oh, another Mac update, or oh, another phone update, or oh, this app has updates every time I go to it. I look at it like, yeah, another update. I'm on the other side of that, because it means someone cares about the thing that you're using and found some fixes, or maybe they're adding other stuff, and maybe it's stuff you don't care about. But at the end of the day, they're still moving the ball forward on that code, and so I'm always excited about updates, because it means someone cares. When I stop getting updates for stuff, that's when I start thinking like, someone doesn't care about this thing anymore. I hope I get an update someday, because the next update might be to disable, or I'll just never get an update anymore. Anyways, long story short, I love updates. But yeah, doing it on production hardware, kind of risky. But I don't have another mirror of my infrastructure here, and some of my stuff technically is production, because I run public services. So sometimes just got to do it. But yeah, I hear you. Maybe I should buy the card, swap it out. But then again, downtime's downtime. But yeah, it makes it a lot less risky if I buy something, flash it that way, or buy something pre-flash, swap it out, and then cross my fingers and hope it works. Denny, what are you working on today? I put yourself in a situation you can not go back to eliminate cold feet syndrome. Yeah. What am I working on today? Oh man. Yeah. So I kind of talked about it a little bit, but released a video this morning. So I've been scrambling doing all the stuff I normally have to do when I release a video, which is, I mean, you name it. Post the documentation, update, get repos, a ton of pushing code all this morning, and pushing documentation and fixing documentation, and just getting my stuff out there. I should do a better job at staging that stuff the night before, but I'm just like at the end of, I kind of have the same routine when I release a video. And so anyways, I a few times have almost accidentally pushed the documentation before the video was released. Not that anyone would ever even notice, but I try to time it all just right. I need to automate that piece of it and do it all the night before and schedule stuff. But yeah, so Saturday mornings for me in the morning is usually just scrambling because my video just came out, and now getting all the backing documentation all in the right places so that people can find it. But then, yeah, today I was working on what I was just talking about, making this RGB light smart with the smart device. And it's super fun. So now I'm writing the code. But yeah, Blood Pack. You cannot break a RAID controller. It can always be recovered. It can always be recovered as long as you do not reboot while it's in a brick state. Awesome. Good to know. So if it bricks, just don't reboot and just keep flashing it until it works. Like, if it's in a brick state, how do I know if it's gonna work then? Like, because I would need to reboot, right? Penguin Airlines R710 normally come with the H700. I'm not sure what you mean by perk 8. Yeah, I'm not sure either. Maybe you have a perk 6 high, and that's the common upgrade for the H700. You'll find it after stream. Yeah, me too. I don't know. I think I do have I'm not even going to go in there, because I actually have another RAID adapter too that I purchased from someone on Craigslist like 2 years ago. And so that used to be in my server for my hardware RAID prior to a lot of the Proxmox stuff I did. This was like 2.5 years ago. So I don't remember. I have a couple RAID adapters. One came with my 710. Not sure what it is. I should look. Deny, you can just reinstall Linux again. But I kind of don't want to do that because I have a lot of stuff running on Linux right now. unless you're talking about like before, if you brick it, what you can do while it's bricked. Because I have no idea. Like if you brick your rate controller while flashing into IT mode, like how do you know if, one, how do you know it's bricked? And then two, how do you know if it works unless you reboot it? But yeah, I'd love to know. Home Lab New, I got a really weird problem with the R720 server rails. For some reason, the seller shipped me the server with both the inner and outer rails attached, and I can't seem to remove the outer rails from the inner rails in order to reattach them to the outer rails to the rack. Yeah, that sounds like, that does not sound fun. It probably was not even fun typing that and figuring out like the outer and inner as you're typing it. Oh, that stinks. That does not sound like fun. I mean, so did they send you the wrong thing or did they send you something that was defective? Oosbarb, question. I run Pi-hole, QNAP container station, Docker as a bridge network mode, but I can't get it working in NAT mode. It's working in NAT, but just for that network and not for the below networks. Does anyone know how to get it working in NAT networks mode for all networks? Yeah, I don't know. I don't run QNAP. Not that it would be really any different because you said you're running in Docker. I don't know. Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, it's a great question for our Discord. I'll put it that way because that one sounds super involved and we need more information there. So hey, we got a Discord channel that's either dedicated to networking or IoT or Docker. Love for you to join and maybe post it there too, because that one seems a little bit involved and it's definitely scoped as something in QNAP. I don't have QNAP experience, but there are people in our Discord who do. Oh, NCIS Legend question. I like these question brackets. How did you go about identifying and labeling your drives? I run everything on an HP ProLiant G6, bought an HBA card so I could do ZFS, but not really sure how to identify the jobs. And yeah, good question. I bought a label maker. I went like pretty low tech. I mean, I was even lower tech before, like I was gonna, put some duct tape and with a marker and put the serial number. So I have a disk array. I have the NetApp disk array, the disk shelf, and I went ultra low tech. I just totally, because I was tired of trying to figure this out, like when one drive would have error, figure out which one it is. And the way you figure out which one it is, like, TrueNAS can't blink that drive on my disk array, unfortunately. So the way I figure out is pull the drive out, which stinks. You pull the wrong one out, now you have one that's in a fault mode. Now you pulled another one out, and you better just hope that like another one doesn't fail, depending on how your RAID's set up. So me, what I ended up doing, I bought a label maker. I went old school. I went like, fourth grade teacher. And I printed out all the serial numbers and I just put them right on the drive on the outside because I'm like, I don't want to, and then I thought, well, maybe I can create a system. I'll have a spreadsheet that tells me which bay it's in, and then I'll put a number on the drive, and then I can just match up the drive to the serial number, and then I'll know. And then I was like, you know what? I don't want to think about this. Sometimes I have this whole policy like, don't make me think. And so that's where I was like, don't make me think about what the serial number is for this drive that's right in front of me. And so, yeah, I printed out labels and put it there. Yeah, I think I have posts even in my social media of like, hey, I finally bought a label maker. And if you watch some of my videos of my disk shelf, later ones, you'll see serial numbers all across them. And I know it probably looks like it probably doesn't look the greatest. Like it doesn't show well, but it works fantastic. So anyways, hope that helps. That's what I do. Pretty low tech. So let's see, blood pack. But then logical mapping. Yeah, that's another good question. So I don't know if you meant logical mapping then too. Yeah, that one's a tough one. I have mine physically separated. So my disk array shelf is only FreeNAS stuff. The rest of my drives are only Proxmox stuff. So for me, I don't have to think about, two of these 3 drives that are dedicated to Proxmox are for this and that. And in that scenario, I'd probably put serial numbers too, labels if you can. It's totally old school, but it works for sure. H310 about $30. and the H710 is about 50 on eBay. Hey, that sounds like a deal to me. Even if I end up with one part that doesn't work, being my other, not doesn't work, but it doesn't get utilized because I've replaced it. That sounds like a deal to me. ZR3PT, hey, just came back from vacancy. Missed your streams. Vacay? Came back from vacay. All right. Where was vacay? I'm good, ZR3. How are you doing? CJ. Hi, Tim. I wanted to brainstorm about software RAID plus LVM setup for a specific use case. Sure. I can help the best I can. There's a ton of smart folks in here too who would love to. Takano, I have the blue light filter on my glasses, but I seriously can't tell the difference. Yeah, I can't either. The only way I can tell is because when I look at the video here, when I look straight on, my eyes look darker. And I think that's the blue light filter doing that, because when I use these glasses, it doesn't happen. And that's the only, thanks. We were just talking about blue light filters. Now it's all blue AF in here. But yeah, I totally agree. I think it's though a certain like frequency of, frequency of blue light that it must filter out. Either that or they just totally scammed me and got me to pay like 20 extra bucks or whatever it was. And they're like, yeah, it totally filters out blue lights in your glasses and it doesn't do anything. That's me being cynical, but yeah. Here we go. There was a report by eye experts showing that it doesn't have a difference on health of the eyes. Yeah, I totally agree. For me, it's a mood thing. Try to find it and post in Discord. Yeah. For me, it's I don't know. It's a mood thing for me. And then also having, I don't know. I can tell the difference between a blue, a cold white, and a warm light blasting on my face. And I don't know. I can tell the difference because I'm just like, whoa, versus like, I feel a little more calm. Maybe it's a little less squinty. Hey, thanks for the follow, Wallen, 1G. Thank you. And hey guys, I got to take a quick break only because I need eye drops because my eye is like killing me and I keep saying I'm going to do it. Give me literally 90 seconds and I will be right back. I promise. Don't leave. Don't go anywhere. I will be right back. I'm just going to put it on my intro screen too so you can actually see me coming and going versus my be right back. But I will be right back. Promise. Okay, sorry about that. I do apologize. And that's probably super loud, but yeah, I did. Man, my eyes are killing me. It's been like this for like 3 days. Hopefully everything's okay with my eyes, but yeah, so yeah. Anyways, thank you for being so patient. So what were we talking about? Oh, you're gonna post the thing about blue light. Yeah, speaking of like light in the eyes, I feel like maybe I'm overdoing it with lights because there's a lot of lights going on that you don't see too here. You know, there's lights up here. Sometimes I think just screens in general, man. So Wallen, I think I called that one out. Thanks for the follow, appreciate it. And Acto Folmach, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Yeah, man, you guys are spending those points. I'm so glad, so glad. Thank you. Use it up. You deserve it. Maybe I'll have some more themes at some point. I don't know. It's kind of hard to pick themes, and I think Twitch limits how many points or how many custom awards I can have for it. But yeah, let's see. Last days, I had a Pi hole in Docker, and it worked for me as a bridge networking and a DHCP relay on the router. Yeah, nice. So yeah, that's a good point too. Like, do you have the host piece turned on? Because don't you have to run it? Well, you're saying it right there that you had it working for me as bridge networking, but I think it's the flag is host. I forget what it's called. Yeah, good question. Yeah, I hear you, Takano. Would love if Link's channel was made since she doesn't fall in a certain channel. Yeah, I'll definitely look into that, and I'll do that day. That's kind of a no-brainer. That's an easy one. At first, I was considering just having one channel only for links, so that just channels don't get flooded with links. Only because like it's super distracting, and it breaks up conversation. But anyways, yeah, I'd totally take care of that today. Bloodpack, I'm out. Good night from Germany. Hey, good night. Sorry, I missed you. Apologize. For me, it's working in bridge mode fine, but I haven't had a need to be in a NAT. Okay. Home Lab New, you and I both enjoy the most mundane things. What are you referring to? I forgot what I was saying right before I had to get my eyes dropped or juiced up because they're getting so dried out. Takano, 7 days until my sub renew. Nice, man. That'll be what, 4 months? I think it'll be 4 months. I think it will be. Yeah, awesome, man. A 1966 938. Did you pick that one? Because that's interesting. I'll remember it. 1966 938. Hey Tim, where are you located? And what time is there? I'm in the Midwest, U.S., and it is currently I'm in Central Time, so I'm in the America/Chicago time zone, and it's 4:48 in the afternoon or almost evening. Wolf Norak R720 does not have inner and outer rails. Oh, good to know. Oh, it does. I just figured out how to remove them because I'm dumb and it took me 6 hours. Home Lab New. Ready rails. I just figured it out. Nice. Takano, we have transcoding. Nice. Yeah, Twitch likes to give me transcoding on Saturdays. I don't know. I don't get it on Tuesday or Thursday, but I'll take it. Yeah, so that's awesome. Actually, I'm not I should thank you guys and not Twitch, because Twitch is only doing it because you guys are here. So yeah, thank you for being here, and I guess thank you for getting me transcoding options. Hopefully soon I get some permanent transcoding options, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, awesome. Good to know. So all of you folks on mobile, save your data. All you folks on desktop, crank it up, whatever you want to do. But that's awesome. Good to know. Easy TSA. So yeah, since your answer earlier, went ahead and spun up Ubuntu 20. Oh, I love this. Doing it in real time. 2004, Docker 1903, 12, Rancher 247 works. Thanks. Awesome. Hey, now we're on the same exact platform. I'm running exactly that. 2004, 190302, and 247. And so hopefully when you spun up that Docker container, you didn't use latest on there. If you did, not a big deal, but hurry up and pin it to 247. So that you always know you're on 247, and when you do updates or backups or upgrades, you know that, hey, this config works with 247. And if you want to go to 248, 249, 25, whatever, you have to explicitly set it. That's my recommendation. Most of the time, I go crazy and just say latest for most stuff. But Rancher is a little, yeah, I'd like to be a little bit more explicit with that. And plus with backups, when I create my backups, I always I make sure that it's for a version. So, but like I said, most of my Docker containers, except for my own my personal code, also latest. Anyone else's stuff, usually latest. Not so much on Rancher, because it's pretty important. Wolf Norek, no problem. I just remembered that the R20 series have different rails. Nice. Simon, I just remembered something. Recently, I installed Pi-hole exactly according to your tutorial in Rancher and Kubernetes. Pi-hole is blocking, but in my Linux pop, it does not work, apt update, etc. Huh. I don't know. So if it's only apt, I mean, you could look to see what Pi-hole is blocking in real time. And you can go into the logs and try to run apt. I thought Pop! OS used, do they use apt? Yeah, because it's based on Ubuntu, right? I don't remember. They have apt in there, yeah. So yeah, I mean, look at your logs in Pi-hole and see when something gets blocked. If something does get blocked, add it to your allow list. I mean, they have a quick button you can press right there and just say allow, or I think they call it whitelist, but add it to your allow list. And it should just work. So yeah, let me know about that one. ZR3 vacation. Yeah, I figured, I forget what it was, probably autocorrect, but I knew you meant vacay. Wolf Norek. Oh no, sorry. HomeLab New, Techno Tim. I don't know if you remember this, but it just struck me that 90 days ago I had zero hardware, and after watching your videos, I am now 5 days away from wiring up the whole house, racked up all of this equipment, fired up a ton of VMs and containers, learned a ton about networking. So thanks for making these videos for myself, as well as for many others, as they provide critical bits of encouragement and approachability. Hey, thank you. Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, I don't know. One, that's awesome that you went from zero to hero. I'll say that. In just, 90 days, and you learned all this stuff and you got it all going. I love it. I think it's fun, and so I like to share it. Yeah, so yeah, no problem at all. And thank you about the piece of encouragement and approachability. I've always tried to be that type of person my whole entire life. So I don't know, but yeah, I appreciate it, and thanks for noticing. And man, I'll be here for as long as I possibly can be to hear about all the new stuff you're working on too. So awesome. Tinkerfoo, oh yeah, the second R720 XD Proxmox server is now up and running. Yeah, I love it. Look at all these Saturday projects you guys got going on. Man, I'm so jealous. So jealous. I do need some more hardware at some point, but I have something I want to do, and I might flip-flop some of my stuff and move my GPU that's passed through in one server, move that over to another server, because after I get that workload or that VM off there, then I can do other stuff with the other server. But yeah, awesome. 2 Proxmox servers. Oh no, sorry, second 720 Proxmox server. Are they both running Proxmox? I'm so jealous. That's awesome. Hey, it looked like Avilov, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Welcome, how are you? HomeLab New, Proxmox. Oh, sorry, back up a little bit. Nice, what are you gonna use it for? Yeah, I'm wondering the same thing. HomeLab New, Proxmox color scheme. Yeah, I think the orangish one kind of is. It's easier on the eyes. Yeah, the Northern Lights, yeah. The green is easier on the eyes. I kind of look like I got some spray tan right now, only because I have a reddish and an orangish one right there behind my monitors too. Bias lighting, right? Right? Is Penguin Airlines still here? He taught me that term, bias lighting behind here. I always call it backlight. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, it feels so much cooler in here now. Thank you. Oh, here we go. Yeah, we're just gonna stay with this blue and green. Love it. Tinkerfoo. Well, I'm a software engineer too, and I need the infrastructure to get in a couple topics related to cloud solutions and many other topics, all related to software development. So it's basically a playground, so I don't have to do it on the job, just investigating for education. Yes. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Right there with you. Love being able to build stuff and tear it down and test here and break stuff, because they can't do that at work. A lot of people can't do that at work. Even in a lab environment at work, I mean, how much can you really test or destroy I mean, maybe you can, but all the labs I had access to at work is like VMs only, maybe some servers, but it wasn't like whole entire physical machines. It's like, you know, pull the plug or wipe the OS and let's install something and go crazy, or spin up a ton of infrastructure too. Yeah, so awesome. NCIS legend. Woke up today to figure out my MySQL defaults to storing in memory when I deployed from Rancher after a system reboot. Forgot to set the bind mount for SQL data. Had to reset a couple services using MySQL as a backup. Yeah, that stinks too. Yeah, isn't that funny? How like, yeah, so if you're using Docker containers, always make sure that you're going to bind mount your volumes, because and then cycle them a few times to make sure they are getting mounted, and you know what I mean, before you put stuff on it. I've been there too. I configured whole entire instances of Docker containers only to realize I didn't map the volume properly, Minecraft once, just to reboot it and just be like, oh, all my stuff is gone. Yeah, I got to remember to do that. Penguin Airlines, did you just assume my list in 2020? But let's not go there. Let's see, Techno, just a couple months ago, and now I have a whole rack, server, and several VMs and containers running, all thanks to me. Thanks, Techno. Yeah, man, I remember when you're new to the channel and new to Discord too, and you got your rack, and I think you just started painting it white. I don't think there was anything in there. That's awesome. Just next project is TrueNAS and get some drives. All right, that sounds like an awesome time for sure. And then once you get TrueNAS and get a NAS set up, it becomes super fun. But then it's like, okay, now you need to move some data around and re-architect where you were storing things. Yeah, it gets super fun for sure. Yeah, man. But like I said, my weekend projects, I know you guys asked me and I probably talked about it already, is getting my LED light thing sorted out. Hey, DevOps, Jordy, thank you. Appreciate it. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Welcome. But yeah, like I was saying, like I think my weekend project, I got two things I'm gonna do. One I did last weekend, which was awesome, which is next week's video, which was super fun because it was different. And then, yeah, I'm gonna be totally fixing my LED lights, making those smart. And then on top of that, I have some new PoE cameras. I'm trying to decide, do I drill the holes and set it up today or do I do it tomorrow? Because I want to put one more camera in, because the thing that I installed last week helps me put a ton more cameras, so it's awesome. Haven't decided yet, but I bought another cheap PoE camera. I mean, it was relatively cheap. I mean, we're talking like $55, but it's a PoE dome, you know, vandal-proof, you know, dome camera, and it does 1080p, 30 frames per second. Not that I need 60, but it's pretty legit. It's pretty awesome. So I got to set that up too. But now I have a bigger pipeline between my bridge networks, so it's so awesome. Takano debating hard drives or SSDs, since TrueNAS is going to have about 10 gig link to the whole switch. You're going to bond them all together? Going to have a dedicated 10 gig link between the whole switch. Yeah, that's awesome. Depends on your ZFS, and you know, it just depends on how much data you're going to push between the two. All SSDs might get expensive. I mean, you don't have to go all in though, right? You could do some slow, some spinning rest, and some SSDs, and then just say, hey, well, super fast stuff is here, and the stuff that's slow to change goes here, or slow to write, or slow to pull out, you know. And then like ZFS is going to help you with frequently accessed stuff either way, because it's going to cache that, right? So yeah, interesting to know what you're going to have on there for sure. Do a few of both. Yeah, that's what I was saying too. Yeah, do a few of both. I think so too. Have your fast data, your slow data, or depends. But yeah, fast data, slow data. I've always called mine fast and slow. Whenever I name volumes, and I know one's SSD, it's fast, and then the other one's just slow, or I just don't even name it fast. NCIS legend question: is there a way to label services on Rancher 2.0 like DB, Git related, etc.? Yeah, use namespaces or projects. I think in GitLab they're called. But yeah, you can. Like DB, Git related, etc. Yeah, I think you can use namespaces for that. So you can use namespaces for a lot of things. You can use them just to visually organize stuff, but you can do it all the way to scoping for security. I think in Rancher they're called projects. I don't remember, but I think those map to namespaces in Kubernetes, or it's a different construct altogether. In Rancher 1, I used to group mine all together, and they had nothing. They were just visual cues for me to say, hey, these things are kind of related. And that's all I used them for. But I know what you mean. Like, you're thinking the other way. Can you actually label them like with the tag and tag all these things and say DB, DB, DB? I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think they like to group or namespace them. But it would be awesome if they could, because I'm used to seeing tags on Git issues and stuff like that. That would be sweet. Wolf Norek, yeah, I bought my rack in March. Now I have two R620, R610, R510, and R720, and an M1000 blade center with 8 blades, running FreeNAS, Proxmox, and a bunch of services. Everything connected in 10 gig fiber. Tim's videos helped me with setting everything up. Wow, I'm glad I helped you. You sound like you're far beyond what I'm even teaching though. But that is so awesome that you have that much going, man. So are they all running all the time, running workloads, or is this like a lab you spin up to test things? Or yeah, I would love to know what's running in that stuff. Tinkerfu, hey, thanks for the sub. Really appreciate it. Wow, thank you so much. Man, today is awesome. Saturdays are always awesome. I mean, not that Tuesdays and Thursday streams are awesome, but it's I like that. I don't know, just get to talk to people that, are all over the world, and people generally too are in great moods on Saturdays, I think. I am. Penguin Airlines, LOL at the name, like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. LOL, I named them like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Oh, you're talking about, what are you talking about? Do a few of both. Oh, your storage, yeah. Yeah, kind of like an AWS or something, Yeah, I do. But my only differentiator between the two is like, okay, I'm either they're 7200 RPM or they're solid state drives. I mean, I guess if I had slower drives, 5400, or I had 10K SAS, then I'd have stuff in between. But yeah, I think that's similar to what AWS does, don't they? They name them similar to that? I don't know. I use GCP, Google. I haven't used AWS in a long time because we moved to Google a long time, Google Cloud. Mike the driver, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Takano, probably just using 2 Iron Wolf NAS drives, as it's mainly going to be backs up for photos and stuff like that. Yeah, that sounds awesome. So yeah, slow to change data, which is I would use spinning drives for that, for sure. Then maybe your backups might take a little bit longer because those are probably going to be in a mirror, and it's only going to be as fast as one 7200 drive anyway, but I don't know. Backups for me, it's like, is it going to take, 10 seconds or 15 minutes? Most of the time, I'm not even awake to even know they're running. So that's my take on backups and slow moving stuff. Obviously, in production, systems, you want them to be a little bit faster than that. My backups never take that long. But to me, most of the time when my backups run here locally, I'm not awake anyway. So as long as they're done before I wake up, which they're super fast anyways. But yeah, that's awesome. Let's see here. Whoa, I'm jumping around here. Gilio, Techno Tim, can I run Rancher on a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus? I think you can. But I think you'd have to do it in RKE, or you might be able to do it in Docker. That's a great question. They do have, I haven't thought about it. I mean, I've thought about it, but I haven't looked into it. I would look it up. Right on Rancher's documentation, they have like 5 ways to install it. I would think so, because at the end of the day, like Pi's or Raspbian can run Docker, and it can probably run RK3 as well. So I think so. Penguin Airlines. NVMe though, yeah, I know. Just go all out, balls to the wall. Penguin Airlines, yeah, AWS does that, and also SANS, yeah, good point. NCIS Legend, I guess one of the way to label them is to prefix them, the name of the service, instead of separating them into different namespaces. Good call. That's how I do it too, because most of my custom software that I write is by the repo name too. And so then when I name that workload in Kubernetes, it's usually the name of the repo too. So yeah, I kind of do that too. But I like the idea of labels. I think you're onto something there, like actually tagging stuff with labels. That would be awesome. Just do them at night. So yeah, that's what I was just saying. Yeah, just do them at night. Slow backups. DevOps Jordy, Azure for life. Yeah, I hear you, man. I did Azure stuff for a while too. I've done AWS, done Azure, but now it's all GCP stuff that I do, it seems like. But yeah, all great cloud platforms, I think. GR3, I'm coding JavaFX right now, doing a UI for an API. Nice. Yeah, that sounds fun. I love doing UIs. I think they're fun. Let me take this back. Well, I can do them on my own too, but I really love doing UIs when a designer has designed it too, because that's awesome. For me personally, that's where I love it, because we have designers and I work with designers too and other jobs, but it's so fun when designers create UIs and then you get to build that custom UI, because now I don't have to like guess on like the user experience and stuff like that. Although I can do it myself, it's no problem, but it's gonna look totally like, it's gonna look like a vanilla, Bootstrap app or a vanilla Material UI strap like Google or Gmail, which is pretty usable, but at the same time, it's nice when designers get to build stuff for you and then you implement it all. Wolf Norek, no, I'm running 510 FreeNAS and R720 Proxmox box daily. Blade Center is for fun. It's loud and draws 3K power when idle, but it's fun to set up, configure. The 620 and 610 is a Proxmox cluster to play with HA, nice. And distributed compiler, LCECC, for Yocto, for work. Yeah, you get some awesome stuff going on. Sorry, there's kids playing outside. Yeah. Long story short, there's a driveway that they love to drive down, and so it's so funny hearing them go down this driveway and just like scream. But at the same time, people are like, probably like, who's that screaming? It's like, no, they playing outside. Anyways, Tickerfoo, you deserve the support. Great content and saves me a lot of time when getting started. Great ideas. Thank you. It's probably referring to the sub. Thank you. I really do appreciate it, and I never expected. So thank you so much. Just what I always say, being here and watching my videos, if you can, is more than enough. So I greatly appreciate anything above and beyond that. So thank you so much. Takano, is there a way to switch pre-existing VMs over to TrueNAS as storage? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. So VMs run on the SSDs and they back up the hard drives at night. Maybe. So I think I understand what you're saying now. So instead of the virtual machines hard drives living on Proxmox, that they live on TrueNAS. And I think that's possible. I think that's possible if you set like an NFS share up or some kind of storage. But you'll be doing it over the network. I mean, yeah, you have 10 gigabit network, probably FireWire, what am I talking about? Optical, so super low latency. So you could do that. You could try it. Yeah, or iSCSI. I agree. Yeah, iSCSI. Yeah, you guys got me. That's how I have an iSCSI drive set up on my FreeNAS. But yeah, so then you get block storage. But you would have to move it though, right? So that's where I agree that if you're setting it up for the first time, or if you want to run iSCSI and NF shares and set up snapshots for ZFS backups. Yeah, I mean, so I have iSCSI set up, which gives me block storage over the network. But then migrating that, yeah, these guys must know. I set some of mine up there to begin with. Not, I didn't move from Proxmox to FreeNAS. Let's see. Sure, VMware term is storage vMotion. Yeah, and you can schedule those. Takano, I burned off all my free AWS credits since I started it up on Ubuntu machine on their services, and I just forgot it existed, and they slowly burned through the credits. Got an email saying they will soon. Yeah, and they hope you do. A lot of cloud providers will give you tons of credits up front, and maybe monthly credits. Whatever, $500, maybe less than that, in the hopes that you'll build up your infrastructure and either get locked into them or forget about it. Yeah. Penguin Airlines, Proxmox supports clustering on the free license, so you can schedule everything to move over to another node if one node to save power. Yeah, totally agree. Fire Warrior, I'm in the market for a new monitor. What do you prefer for coding? Multiple monitors or ultra wide? Yeah, good question. I prefer multiple monitors. And so that's what I do all day long. And so I game, I stream, and I code. And I use multiple monitors. I know that ultra wides are cool. I wish they had them for video editing. That would be nice. But I like being able to move windows in certain places, break them up into certain sizes, and put them in, on certain monitors. So I have 2 BenQ monitors here in portrait mode, and then 1 in landscape mode. And so it's always, Slack or Discord here, music and documentation here, terminal here, and then my terminal split in usually 4 or 5 windows. And then whatever I'm working on, as far as if I'm working on front end, whatever I'm running or building at the time, top left, and then front and center for me is VS Code full screen. And so I know that if you get an ultra wide, a lot of them have software to where you can break it up and put them in individual windows. But me personally, I like breaking it all up. And so I have 3 1440p monitors. They're BenQ ones. If you're interested, they're in the gear link. But yeah, I do wish though that I had an ultra wide just for video editing only. I wish, yeah, or if my primary could be a 4K or something, only because your timeline is horizontal. It's the only thing I do in the entire world where I have to horizontal scroll is video editing, because your timeline is horizontal. Other than that, code is all vertical. Everything you do on the web is vertical, So anyways, long story short, I prefer 3 separate. But at the cost I paid, it's like maybe I could have got two horizontal or 2 ultra wide and stacked them on top of each other. I don't know. So many ways you can do it, but I still like individual. You can set up a backup job in Proxmox. You guys are talking about iSCSI? Yep, for sure. And set up snapshots. Yep. ZR3 JavaFX is really great for UI, at least for me. Second, React and Vue. But just since a desktop app, I prefer JavaFX. Haven't done it. I've done Java, done Kotlin. But yeah, I do a lot of I guess React and JavaScript in general, just because I just like that stack. You probably like Java because you can write it anywhere, and I like JavaScript because I can write it anywhere. Yeah, it's super awesome. Haven't looked at JavaFX. Techno might just keep running it on Proxmox drive just to get a larger drive, as it currently only have 120 gig SSD. We'll only have to move all the data to the new drive and expand the storage. Penguin Airlines, I prefer a giant 4K panel. Yeah, I at some point my main panel here, even though it's not even a year old, I might go 4K in the middle. But that's after possibly I get a 3080, because then I can game, stream in 4K and then convert down to 1080p. But I don't think that this card would be able to do that. So that's kind of what I've been thinking about. If I were to get a 3080, why I would get a 3080. So I can do stuff in 4K and still encode the stream and scale it down to 1080. But I would still keep my side monitors. You're not taking those from me. Just because those are like the out of sight, out of mind thing. I don't want to do all tab all day. And sometimes, I'm writing code as I'm watching out of the corner of my eye, watching my unit tests, seeing if I broke something. And at the same time, my UI that's up here is refreshing as I'm saving. So yeah. ZR3. Have you used Electron? Wales. Oh, so Electron? Yeah, I've used Electron. Yep. For desktop apps, for sure. Yep, I built one. Yeah, built one for a large company. Yeah, so that was my job for a while because they wanted React, they wanted JavaScript. I was like, this is awesome. Let's do it. So I have done Electron. Not Wales though. So if you're not familiar with Electron, it's basically a way to give you a desktop application so you can write JavaScript too. But yeah. There are also power toys, which is what I use to just snap windows to predefined errors on specific monitors. Yeah, yep. I use keyboard shortcuts, and so I know them. And so on Mac I use rectangle, and I have keyboard shortcuts for that. On Windows I know the Windows shortcuts to do that. I do wish Windows had a better. It's funny. It's kind of it's kind of ironic that it's called Windows, but like window management is pretty poor in Windows. And I say that because things you mentioned, like, hey, I gotta install Power Toys to do certain things. Like Windows doesn't do a great job. Like it'll do left, right, it'll do top, bottom, but sometimes I want to do thirds. And so like rectangle and things on Mac and probably on Linux do an awesome job at like dividing things up in thirds or quarters. Whereas Mac or Windows just wants to do halvesies all the time. And like sometimes you need more than halvesies, And it doesn't even do a great job in portrait mode if you say halvesies and then quarter. So that would be quarter. They don't do a good job of that. Because like sometimes I want 4 screens on a portrait monitor or 4 screens on a landscape monitor and divide it all up, quarter it. You got to play with it. And there are secret tricks to make some of it work. It's like start on the other screen, then use Windows right, and then once it's halved, hit up, and then up gives you the 1/4. So it's kind of weird. I wish Windows had a better window management system. I mean, they know people are running 2, 3, 4, 5 monitors, but yeah, it's kind of ironic. But anyways, Penguin Airlines. But yeah, that was partially a cost decision because I got my 40-inch 40K for $250. That sounds like a heck of a deal. Yeah, Power Toys is good. It's good. Or Display Fusion. Yeah, I have to check these out. For my desktop clients, I use .NET, WPF, or UWP. Wow. I haven't done WPF in a while, and I've done WPF and I've done UWP, so Universal Windows Platform Apps. Yeah, it's been a while. But yeah, it's awesome. Electron's awesome. So if you have, again, why would someone choose Electron? It's because you have developers who write front ends in React already that want to write, React front ends. And I mean, it's same as Discord. I mean, Discord's done that same thing where Discord is on the web, Discord is on mobile, and Discord's on your desktop. And I think that's their architecture decision too, is we want to write, JavaScript front ends, and we want to do it everywhere. So their app is a React Native app, so they write it in JavaScript. I think their desktop app is an Electron app that they write in JavaScript. And then their web is, React.js on the web. And what that gives them is the ability to write JavaScript everywhere. Not only that, not only a language thing, but then optimization to say, hey, now we have a shared library for these components that will run anywhere. When they write their button in, or if I look at Discord right now, I see in components because I do this all day long, but whatever, they have their channel list, and in their channel list there has a channel which is an icon, that most likely is probably the same component whether it's on desktop, web, or mobile, because power of JavaScript and the power of React. But yeah, anyways, I digress. A lot of developer stuff there, but I really appreciate what Discord. They've talked about it a few times. I think it's awesome what they do as far as engineering wise, for sure. Mr. Heartstomper. Ooh. Could you go in depth on rancher networking, such as networking between containers and service and ingress and networking? Yeah, that's a huge topic. That's a huge topic, and I might have something come soon. I hope you mean for a video, because putting me on the spot and doing that now, that would be pretty tough, at least without some diagramming and some networking. But networking between containers is really just creating services within Rancher or Kubernetes. And so traditionally, if you saw like a Docker link, obviously that doesn't work in Kubernetes. You would have to create a service. And then once you create that service, you can reference that service by that name that you just gave it. And ingress networking, all ingress networking is doing, so if you take out host port, right? Because host port you typically don't use in like a production scenario. Maybe you do. But let's say you never did host port networking. You would use an ingress to allow outside communication into that service. So it basically puts a little load balancer in front of it, pokes a hole in it, and then creates a route to it so that you can get to it. And so that's all they are from a high level. You would use an ingress to expose that service on a port and maybe do, maybe switch the ports up or whatever, but expose that then to either other things within the cluster or outside of that cluster. And yeah, that's kind of a high level. I will have some stuff coming up soon because I have some content planned where I'm not going to do an entire deep dive, but I will have examples of what these things are and how to do them. And I don't mean to make this super like nebulous because it's not really a secret. But I will have something coming soon that kind of explains some of this. I mean, it's going to be similar to, if you had a service that wasn't containerized and then moving that to a containerized service, and now that it's a containerized service in Kubernetes, how do things access it either by name, outside of the cluster or inside of the cluster? So that's definitely planned. But if you want to talk more about it in Discord, for sure. Because I would need to at least refer to documentation and diagram. And I don't have that set up yet, but I have something planned. But Mr. Heartstopper, let me know if that's kind of what you're thinking. Hopefully, I mean, I know that's super high level, and I know that, probably doesn't answer all your questions. But it is a big topic for sure. Penguin Airlines, well, Tim, I game on this. If the GPU can't keep up at 1080p as pixel perfect, the only negative is trying to find a cheap panel with 120 hertz FreeSync, G-Sync. Yeah, I agree. If the GPU can't keep up 1080p, but then you're not gaming in its native resolution though too. And that's another reason why I've kind of been holding back on, I went 1440p and it works great, super high refresh rate, because I always want to game in the native resolution too. Otherwise colors can look washed out and stuff like that. So if I put this in 1080p, it's not going to look as sharp as it would in 1440p. But that's also another reason why I'm kind of holding out for a 3080, is because now I think I'll be able to game or at least, run my screen in 4K and at the same time stream and encode that stream, transcode or encode it down to 1080p and possibly play games. I don't know. 4K gaming is still so taxing. Hopefully a 3080 can do it okay. It's kind of, they're talking it up. They're like, oh, I can do 8K gaming, but what about 4K? Can I do 4K max settings? Because that's what I want to know. Because I'm not buying an 8K setting, monitor anytime. Antok, Rectangle is dope for Mac. Yep. Yeah, I used it. Switched recently. Been using Spectacle for years, but totally, 100%. I used Spectacle for years too. And then the guy was like, can't maintain it anymore. And then they forked it and created Rectangle. Yeah, I agree. I think Rectangle is near perfect for how you move, how you should do window management, especially from keyboard shortcuts, because being able to, do quarters, you can do an infinite amount of configurations by just a couple of tabs. No, I take that back. I think it stops at thirds. I can't remember. But iTerm, I wish the way that iTerm worked internally was how all operating systems did windowing too, because you can have infinite amount of windows within iTerm. And all it does is keep just cutting it in half and halves and halves and halves or thirds or quarters, or, it keeps dividing up the space equally as you add more screens. And I wish that just worked everywhere, because I love how iTerm does windowing internally. Takano, what are some of the Mac utilities I'm stuck using for the next 3 weeks to force myself to learn new operating systems? Yeah, I wish I had my Mac open right now. Rectangle for one, absolutely. As Antonk just said, best window management tool that's there. Oh man, I wish I had my Mac open. It's right there. I can't even tell you off the top of my head. But iTerm is another one. If you want a great terminal, I would definitely go iTerm 2. Totally putting me on the spot. I mean, I put all my developer tools on it then too. So I'm running VS Code, I'm running MVM. I actually run Z Shell, and then I run all my ZSH on top of Z Shell because I think Z Shell is awesome, and oh my ZSH makes Z Shell really awesome. Lots of plugins. You could just use Bash, doesn't matter. Docker's one I usually have on there, although I don't have it run at startup, just because it takes up resources, but it's on there. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I always have Atom on mine, even though I run VS Code. I always have Atom as my other editor because Notes in Mac sucks, or TextPad or WordPad or whatever it is. It's terrible. Mainly because when you launch it, it asks you to create a file right away. And it's like, I don't want to create a file. I want to paste something from my clipboard really quickly so I don't have to think about it, or I want to copy and paste it later. But yeah. But yeah, man, I'll list them in Discord for sure. I have to actually look at my Mac and then I can rattle them all off because they're all there. But yeah, Linux is next after. Nice. Penguin Airlines, I've heard that i3 is a pretty sick display manager. I haven't heard of it. I'll have to check it out. When I get back using Linux on my main desktop, I'll have to try it out. IW3DWN, nice. What I have to do is give credit to Mac, how easy it is to install stuff. No unnecessary installers, which are full of bloatware. Just drag and drop the applications folders on the most. Easy framework stack has its every framework stack has its justification. Tinkerfoo, yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. And there will be reasons why people choose it, reasons why people hate it. Totally agree. And it's all, it just depends on your software architecture. It depends on your talent. Depends on your architecture of the company that you're working at. Totally agree. 100%. It's someone's opinion, and sometimes it's someone else's opinion, and you just kind of have to make it work. Yep, 100% agree. But yeah, Takano, I totally agree. Mac, installing software, drag and drop, super easy. Some apps aren't just drag and drop, but I do appreciate it because they don't, you think of Windows and registry and you install stuff, it's like, huh? Like you installed all this crap in the registry everywhere, and hopefully your uninstaller removes it. Should. I know the universal window apps now no longer do that. But yeah. But you'll find some on Mac that still have their own installer. Like VirtualBox, for instance. That's another one I run on Mac. It has its own installer, I think. And then like to uninstall it isn't drag and drop. You have to run the uninstaller. So it just depends on the app. Where it needs to write to. VLC is another one. Sorry, VLC is another one. I run VLC for my video. I'll put this in. I won't name them off as I think of them, but I'll put them in Discord. Mr. Heartstopper, video for sure. Yeah, I'll try my best. Sometimes to dive deep on just a single topic is I like to, how do I explain this? A lot of my videos are about trying to complete a project or implementing something or combining hardware and software rather than just talk about topics and deep dive on topics. So I'll try my best, but most of the time I sprinkle in those topics throughout the video where you're implementing something you can use in real life. So how about that? That pretty much summarizes all my videos. It's never just like, today we're going to talk about Rancher networking and just talk about Rancher networking. So if that's what you're looking for, I don't think that we'll see one, but I may talk about Rancher networking while we're setting up something in Rancher, or we're setting up services, or we're setting up ingresses. And so I definitely always sprinkle in a lot of asides in my video if you haven't noticed. Maybe too many sometimes. But yeah, thank you for the feedback, and I'll doodly noted. Mike the Driver, I don't know if I called that one out. Thank you for the follow, appreciate it. Colin Draft, thank you for the follow, really appreciate it. Sip12, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Welcome, folks. Unknown R6, are you a freelance coder? Maybe, I don't know. Where do I even start? I do it professionally. So I'm a software engineer professionally, been for a while, with a lot of different companies, really big companies, mid-sized companies, and then a startup now. So I get paid to do it. But then I also run a lot of my own services, my own apps. And so I do freelance for myself, if that makes sense. I rarely ever do freelance for someone else, just because most of the time they don't even understand, and there's nothing against them, but I don't think folks who are hiring a freelance developer most of the time, unless they've done it before, understand the amount of work that goes into it to justify what they want to pay. And it might be different. I don't know. But for the most part, but then at the same time, then I'm just building stuff for other people. And I don't find a ton of enjoyment in that. I do where I currently work because I love the place I work, a small startup, and I really believe in what we're doing. And then, for my own personal stuff, it's super, for me, it's fun stuff. It's Discord bots, it's Twitch bots, it's automating all of my IoT stuff in here. And so tons of stuff, these lights, the channel bots. And so those are the fun types of things that I do on my own. So, and then I have apps in the App Store. I have services that also I monetize. And so I don't know if I'm considered a freelance coder. I've just been doing this stuff for a long time, and I enjoy, there are things I enjoy doing at work that I get paid for professionally as a software engineer. And then there's stuff I like doing outside of work, some of which I do monetize, other of which are open source, and then other of which are just utilities to turn on lights during my stream for fun. So yeah. Penguin Airlines, nothing looks washed out. It's pixel perfect. The panel is just displaying the same color on 4 instead of 1. Interesting. I've always found that, like, if you don't put a monitor in its native resolution, things, I don't know, maybe it's not that way anymore. Because I always thought that's just how it was. Yeah, interesting. It's similar concept to integer scaling. Okay. Yeah, I like I said, but regardless, it's probably good to schedule for you anyways to get the new GPU before a panel. Yeah. But yeah, I just thought, panels haven't always been that way. You put something in 1080p, you're gonna either see jaggies or it's gonna look washed out. Jaggies are probably because it's at a lower resolution. But I've always been able to tell when panels aren't in their native, except for like on a Mac display, because they must do it right. And maybe that's the same technology that your display has. But yeah, awesome. Let me know, like, the model. Curious. Because it seems like you got a super good deal on it. It seems like it works out pretty well. Swayam. Oh, you do the i3. Do that on Linux, I think. Nice. I'll have to check this out. I haven't seen it. Anton, 2 things Rectangle added that Spectacle lacked was are almost maximize. And you can set up gaps similar to how i3 gaps handle spaces between the windows. Super fun to play around with. Almost maximize, yeah, but I thought Spectacle had the almost maximize, which is not the full screen maximize, swipe all your stuff over to the side. Because I've always found it was Command Option F to make something full screen, not maximize. Or wait, maximize, not full screen. I don't know. Mac does things so weird. But I thought that was on Spectacle, unless it's a different feature we're talking about. Homeland Noon, just sliced my hand on one of the rails. Oh, be careful, because yeah, metal, I don't know. I've been cut by metal too before, especially like on cases, like PC cases that aren't like, they're not cut or bent right. They're just cheap ones, and you're like trying to slide something and you totally slice your hand, which you probably did. The worst. Takana, I would have used Catalina, but the whole Mac versus NVIDIA fight causes NVIDIA driver not to write the drivers for newer Macs in the past. For newer Mac OS version past High Sierra, yeah, for sure. Yeah, Catalina will not run NVIDIA, so yeah. Yep. So you're running, I assume you're running then High Sierra. DAG, OD23. What do you like better, Portainer or Rancher? As a beginner, these are pretty much the same, aren't they? Greetings from Germany. Hey, thank you. Yeah, great question. Real quick, Disruptor, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Pineapple, bruh, thanks for the follow, appreciate it, man. Welcome. H4 ad, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Welcome, folks. Yeah, this is a great question, and it comes up a lot. Now, I'll still answer it, and hopefully this answers the question, because I know when there's 2 competing products, people want to know which should I choose, which one's better, air quotes on better. And so my answer to this is the same answer with a lot of things. And so I don't mean to give the total passive answer to this, but I would say that if you're already familiar with Portainer, because some people are, because Portainer's been around for a while, Portainer might be a great fit for you. Like if you already know Portainer, you already understand the UI, and you're thinking about, hey, I'm on Portainer 1, do I go Portainer 2 or do I go with Rancher? I would just say stick with Portainer, because at the end of the day, you're going to get a lot of the same things, right? If you're looking to get Kubernetes and stuff like that. Portainer also has the option to run just on a Docker host or run Docker Swarm and manage that too. Rancher gives you the option to manage Docker in their cattle, orchestration framework, but similar type of approach. So if you're new to both and you don't care which one and you want to pick one, my preference, and I'll say this, my preference is Rancher. And the only reason why, not the only reason, there's lots of reasons why, but Rancher's been doing this for a long time, as has Portainer, but Rancher's also been doing the Kubernetes piece for a really long time. And so I look at how many features they've developed, how many things they've already figured out, how they have a way to expose their services through an ingress, how much they put into the UI, how much you can already do, and then how many systems they run on. I think they run on Windows too. That may or may not be interesting to you, but interesting to enterprises for sure. I look at all those things and I think, they're really far ahead in this journey as far as Kubernetes goes, if you compare the two products. And so I'm not saying Portainer is a bad product. And if you don't care about any of that stuff, Portainer is a good choice. Like, I think Portainer is a great choice. But if you're asking me to pick, I'm going to pick, me personally, Rancher for those reasons. And I know that people say, well, Rancher seems confusing, I'm going to go with Portainer. And that's fair. That's totally fair. But be sure that you're comparing Portainer with Kubernetes to Rancher with Kubernetes. Because some people will say, Rancher is super confusing, I'm just going to go with Portainer. But if they're going to go with Portainer 2.0 and Kubernetes, they're going to have the same challenges because they're doing almost the same exact thing. But if you want to get into just a UI that will manage Docker only, Portainer is a great fit. It reduces a ton of complexity. If you never want Swarm and you never want Kubernetes, Portainer is a great choice. And then you reduce a ton of that complexity. So I hope that answers. It's not that one is better than the other. I just think that, I'm choosing one because it's a lot further along with Kubernetes. And it's been around for a long time, and they just, got acquired by SUSE and got a huge backing now, big community around it. And I agree that it is really enterprise focused. I mean, most of the stuff they're doing is for enterprises. But I like some of those enterprise-like features at home for my stuff. So anyways, that's a long ramble. I'd say if you still don't know, try them both. They only take about 15 minutes each to spin up. I have how to spin up Minecraft on both. Follow those videos, spin them up on each, see which one you like. And then at least you know for yourself. And you're like, yep, I was able to spin Portainer 2.0 with Kubernetes and Minecraft, and it took X amount of minutes, and I like their UI. Or, I spun it up with Rancher, took X amount of minutes, I like their UI, I like what they're doing, and then decide from there. So basically, look at my Rancher video, look at my Portainer video. At the end of the day, I create a Minecraft server in there, so it's the same exact workload, and see if you like it. Not that you even have to run Minecraft, but it's an easy, cool way to connect to a Minecraft server. Major Gamer Geek, hey, thanks for the follow, appreciate it, welcome. So anyways, hope that helps, Dagog, 23. Takano felt the pain. I cut myself a couple of times with rack nuts since they were old ones and were difficult to put in. Yeah, whenever you got metal shavings, I'm just getting all cut up for sure. Takano Epson printer drivers had its own installers, which installed a good amount of software, which I don't need considering Mac just work with it normally. It was like just having issues since it was VLAN'd off. Yeah, printer software, I'm like I will never install printer software ever unless I absolutely need to. I'm just going to go Windows add a printer, Linux add a printer, Mac add printer, and hopefully they figure it out. Because man, printer drivers in general are they're just so much garbage in there most of the time. Anyways, sorry if you work for a printer company, but man, your software is huge. And I don't need all that. Give me the minimal amount, you know, let me print. Maybe tell me that my toner's low or something. I don't know. Unknown R6, you have apps? I do. Yeah, I do. Pineapple Bruh, I'm new. First stream I've been on, and I can already tell that you're extremely underrated. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it, Pineapple Bruh. Can I say Pineapple Bruh? Because I like it. Or maybe it's just bruh, but I like bruh. But yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Just trying to, yeah, do my best, right? Yeah, and welcome. Unknown R6. Yeah, Penguin Airlines. Yeah, it's not that way for most things. 1440p to 1080p is a perfect scale. Down. Yeah, good call. Yeah, totally makes sense now. Yep. Pineapple Bra, thank you. Penguin Airlines. Oh, now we got Pineapple Bra and Penguin Airlines. A lot of P's in there. But 4K to 1080p is a perfect 4X. Good call. Yeah, that's a good call because the ratio. So I guess you're right. It's a new thing. It's a new thing we can do. Yeah, for sure. I'm happy for it because man, and that's good news for me because that means if I get a 4K and I want to run at 2K for whatever reason, it won't look washed out and it looks sharp. Yeah. Fire Warrior, you'd have to do 1440p to 720. Thank you. Oh man, you guys are all over it with the monitors and ratios. Yeah, it is because of the ratio. I should have thought of that. Takano, yep, currently running High Sierra as it's the last supported version for my 1050 Ti. And like, yeah, I can use the iGPU for my Mac, but I'd rather not switch the cables around when switching between Mac OS and Windows. Yeah, me too. I have fortunately I went the same way, and on my Mac I have a USB-C to HDMI dongle. Like I have all kinds of dongles for my Mac. I won't even get started on that. But the nice thing is my monitors have both HDMI and what's the other one? I'm totally, my brain is so fried right now. DisplayPort. And so my monitors have DisplayPort and HDMI. So fortunately my Mac, I run 3 HDMIs to one port, and then for my Windows PC that's right over there, I connect all the display ports to it. So it's perfect because, you know, turn off my PC, turn on my Mac or whatever, they're just there. But yeah, I know what you mean about not having to go and switch things around. I just bought more cables. I was like, Amazon Basics, cheap enough. You know, if it doesn't save me any time, I don't care, but it saves me a lot of crawling around. But yeah. Penguin Airlines, I don't know that the model you would recommend it anymore. It's only a Samsung 4K TV that takes 60 hertz, and the one I bought for 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. Like a madman though, I mounted it to a full motion mount so I can push it back and pull it out, different scenarios. It looks like it's floating, essentially, since the side of the mount is way up to the side. Yeah, I love it. I love monitors on arms. These two, what am I talking about? All 3 of my monitors on arms, but it's the desk lamp arms. But it's funny, I have them on arms, but I never moved them. But it reduced, what it did was give me a way to run, way to run all those cables back to the back of my desk and allow me to put a ton of stuff under it because, you know, monitor stands in general are just sometimes kind of bulky. So I'm right there with you. I put arms on all my monitors. First thing I do is take off the monitor mount, and mostly because I'm tall. I mean, I think they figured this out now, but I'm super tall. And so my monitor needs to be high, like way higher than most monitor stands will go. But yeah, awesome. I'd love to see it. Well, I saw it. I saw it in Discord. You had sweet setups. And that's where we learned about bias lighting. Let's see here. Penguin Airlines. Oh, it's like it's a VA panel. Good mix of response time and color accuracy. Awesome. Decod, awesome answer. Thanks. Hopefully, I don't mean to answer my questions with questions, but a lot of the times, it's going to come down to personal preference. And, I've shared my preference, but that doesn't mean it's right or right for you. So yeah, spin up each. If you're running Proxmox, spin up 2 Ubuntu servers, go crazy. I mean, you don't even, yeah, I would probably spin up two just because to keep those separate, just in case you decide to go with one, you don't have cruft on the other from what the other one did. Yeah, test them out. Super fun. Unknown R6, would you look into RDNA 2 GPUs when they come out, or are you set on the 3080s? I don't know. What are the RDNA 2 GPUs? I assume is that NVIDIA's answer? Sorry, I'm not familiar with RDNA 2. I'm assuming you mean AMD because what else is there out there? And maybe there's something else. But am I set on 3080? No. I just think it's gonna end up being the sweet spot for me. And just seeing that the 3070 totally blows away the 2080 Ti, the Titan. That's what I hear. That the lowest model blows it away. I think that might be the sweet spot for me. Have I fully decided? No, not yet at all. Not for sure. And I want to see like the other makers that have cards too. Have they released all theirs yet, or we just have the reference boards right now? But yeah, no. Have I fully decided? Nope. I'll probably end up deciding in November, and nothing to do with Black Friday because they probably won't be on sale anyways. But that's the time when I kind of plan out like a lot of my hardware upgrades for the next year as much as I can. Not that I'm that planful, but sometimes I need to spend some money for taxes. I'll just put it that way. And so November is a good year to do that. Yeah. And upgrade my stuff and plan for it. And now that this is my first year like making content and tech content, so now I can actually plan and say, okay, I'm going to do these things over the next 3 months, and so I'd rather buy this year for tax purposes than figure it out next year. But yeah, anyways, I'm going to figure that all out. Not totally set on 3080. I just think for me that might be the sweet spot. Techno posted it over in general channel. Okay, Discord, so you can see how much junk it installed. Yeah, I believe it. Printers, man. Printers is the worst. The installing stuff. Major Gamer Geek. This is my first stream and learning stuff right away. Yeah, party. Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, well, thank you and welcome. Yeah, awesome. Mr. Fizzler, Tim, would you have any idea as to why after installing Traffic, I cannot ping Google nor pull images from Docker Hub? As if Traffic has been blocking my Ubuntu VM from accessing the net. And that's Traffic doing it? So this is on your Docker host? Like that Traffic's running on? When I'm spinning down Traffic, I get a good connection, and this only happens at times, comes and goes. So are you running, so I'm not a Traffic expert, but I'll try my best. So I installed Traffic to only manage like the load balancers and be the reverse proxy for all of my services within Rancher or Kubernetes. Did you install it that way? And are you using Traffic 1, 2? So did you follow my guide or something else? I'm curious. And then when you say, I get you. So it must be on the Docker host. Could you say, hey, I can't access Google or pull images from Docker Hub? Sounds like wires are crossed somewhere. Sounds like wires are crossed somewhere for sure. Because you should be able to. Yeah. I'll have to think about that for a minute. Like if you look at the Traffic logs, are there anything in the logs like saying, like if you go into Traffic, go in that container and go into container logs, when you try to access or pull Docker containers, if you say redeploy or something, anything in the logs that gives any clue to say kind of what's going on, because that might help. Yeah. I think I see you're following my guide. So yeah, can we look at the container logs and see if there's anything in there that would give a clue? Home Laminu, LOL, broke my stupid latch release on one of the rails. Screw this. I'm mounting this with rail cage nuts. Yeah. Oh man, that stinks. Cause you got the rails too, right? And rails are awesome when you get them. Because yeah, they just make life easier. Also, if you get the cable management arm too, it's like you need them kind of both to make life easier. Well, I guess not necessarily. Yeah, you kind of do. But yeah, I may have the first blood, but I'll have the last laugh. All right, love it. Takano, sadly, I cannot use wall-mounted monitor arms since I'm sitting right in front of a window. Oh, yeah. So I use the desk-mounted arms, and I love them. Now, like, I've done it. This is my third time doing it. where I've been like, my monitor comes with, obviously a stand. It's not just going to sit on my desk. But immediately I have these and I reuse them. But if I don't, like when I start work somewhere else, I'm like, can I have monitor arms? Because then I, it lifts the monitor off the table. You get so much room because the monitor arm then goes to the back of the desk and it screws in there, which is awesome because now I can lift up monitors. I have more places to put junk as if I need more places to put junk. The other cool thing is if you use them and you work on a team, you can just say, hey, how does this look to you? And swivel the monitor over. Or if you have a standing desk like I do too, you can adjust them. But anyways, I bought cheap ones. I don't know, $30 ones or something like that, $40 ones. And I mean, I've had them now for 2 generations of monitors and they're awesome. But yeah, to each his own though. Oh yeah, Firewire RDNA, our Big Navi, yep, is AMD's new line of GPUs that'll be released in a bit. Yeah. So if you would have said Big Navi, I would have known that was AMD's GPU. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're releasing it until October, I think is what I heard last. So we're kind of in a wait and see. Everyone's in a wait and see. Is it going to be hyped up? Who knows? Is AMD doing awesome things with CPUs now? Yes. Has AMD been doing awesome things with GPUs ever? Don't hate me. No. I mean, in comparison, and maybe it's a value play, sure. If you're talking about value-wise, sure. I don't know. I've run NVIDIA for many years. I got burned on an AMD GPU a long time ago, as I think a lot of people did. And I'm a wait and see. So I haven't fully decided on a 3080 yet. Have I decided on AMD versus NVIDIA? Maybe in my mind I have. And it's not even a 100% performance thing. It's like, NVIDIA has treated me well with every NVIDIA card I've ever bought. I feel like I got a great value and a great longevity out of my cards. I've had this card now for 3-4 years. And when I bought it, a 1080 wasn't even new then, and 20 series were already out. And I've got great value out of it because I can play games, 1080p, 1440p, 60 frames per second, and stream at the same time. Which leads me into my next piece, is that I really depend on NVIDIA's NVENC encoder. So the onboard encoder that comes on a video card that helps me encode this very stream right now is being encoded by NVIDIA's GPU. And so I'm offloading this encoding task from my CPU and telling my NVIDIA card to do it on the GPU. And I understand that AMD might have something similar, but I think that AMD's NVENC, NVENC, their NVENC encoder is a lot further along and has a lot more support than AMD's. And that's not only for encoding my stream, but also during video render times and video previews times. A lot of people have partnered with NVIDIA for the NVENC encoder. And so maybe I'm going too far in the deep end and this is not a normal use case. But when I think about all of the things about NVIDIA and AMD, it's not just red versus green. I'm team green. It's what do I get from that card? How do I use it today? And how will I use it in the future? And so OBS, plays great with NVENC encoder from NVIDIA. All the entire Adobe suite plays pretty good with NVENC encoder. And so anyways, long story short, not sold yet. Am I excited to see what AMD is going to do? Heck yes. Do I hope they come close or blow away NVIDIA? Heck yes, I do, because I love competition. And, NVIDIA's had free play for a long time, right? Just like Intel had free play for a long time. And so I hope free play or free swim or adult swim is over now. And there's someone else that wants to swim or play with them. And because when they have competition that's that close, that's neck and neck, it forces them to do better and to create more features. Or they start competing on price. So if they can't compete on performance, then they're going to compete on price, or it's both. So anyways, long story short, looking forward to it. Am I optimistic? I'll be optimistic about it, but it would take a lot for me to switch, only because all of the things that I mentioned. And so I'm not just like, hey, I bleed green. It's just like, okay, I'm invested not only in the GPU for performance, but I'm invested in the NVENC encoder for what it gives me as a creator too. So, but yeah, sorry, super long spiel about, my use case. And so your use case might be different. You might be just like, hey, I want 4K gaming. I want 120 frames, 120 hertz, 120 frames per second, max performance, max value. And whoever gives that to me, whether it's Team Green or Team Red, I'm going to go with it. That's totally, I 100% understand that. Yeah, so sorry, but it's a great question for discussion. And I never really thought it totally through until you asked it. So thank you so much for thinking, for asking that question, because I never had to think that through until now. So yeah, appreciate it, Firewear. Awesome question. NCIS Legend question: what motivated you to switch from gaming videos to tech videos? NCIS, yeah, either you've been around for a long time or you've seen my stuff before. A great question. I had to decide. So I streamed for a while on Twitch, and I used to play games. And so my thing was, my brand at the time was, I'm going to play lesser known games. I'm going to play lesser known games, whether that's retro or indie games. And so that was my thing. And I really, really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it for a long time. But if anybody who streams on Twitch knows that that's hard. That's hard to do and hard to do well. And so I had to kind of decide and think about it for a while. So I took some time off. There were times I streamed and I played video games with no microphone, no webcam, because I was just like, I want to play games and I want to record this game. And if someone pops in, I'll type chat to them. So I had to decide. I had to make a decision. Okay, what do I want to be when I grow up on Twitch, or on YouTube or social media? What do I want to be when I grow up? And so I had to make the decision. And for me, it wasn't like, oh, I got it. So I'll say this first. So I had to rebrand myself. I'll put that out there first. Let me get a drink. And I had to caveat that with, it wasn't like, oh, I got to rebrand myself. It was like, I got to rebrand myself. And what do I do on nights and weekends? And let me rewind a little bit. I did some live coding sessions on Twitch in between my gaming sessions. And I realized that during my coding sessions, I was having the most fun. And it wasn't because of the codes I was writing, it was because they were the most interactive streams I had ever in 2 years of playing games on a screen. My coding ones were the most interactive. And so I had people, and I didn't know this during the stream, it's actually on YouTube. I was writing code and I was debugging code. And during that time, they were actually trying to break my bot. And it was the bot that was in my channel. And so I'm debugging their code. We're talking about code and we were just having a good time. And it was like one of the best streams that I had ever had, because, all of these unplanned things happened, together people, we were talking about different things, and different topics. And it was super interactive. And I just felt like, man, this is great to have like a community of people like interested in what I'm interested in. And at that time it was writing Twitch bots. And so after all of that, I kind of had to decide a few things. One, I had to dial back what I was doing on Twitch. I had to dial it back, whether I was going to switch to whether I was going to switch to the Tim outside of gaming that is me all the time, or I was going to continue being the Tim that games on Twitch. I had to dial it back, and I decided I'm going to create YouTube content. And so I started. Man, this is like the history of me over the last 7 months. It's only been 7 or 8 months. September, 9 months. So then I started making gaming streaming content. And then I realized man, I'm kind of okay at this stuff. But I just want to make content about things I do on the weekends and maybe get a 2-for-1, and what I mean by 2-for-1 was maybe I can just record what I'm doing this weekend and have that be my content, and maybe someone will like it. And that's what I started doing. I was like, I had friends who asked me how I do certain things. I had friends who asked me, what do you use for this service? I had friends who asked me, how do I set this up? I had friends who asked me, why did you choose this over this? And when I say friends, it was probably like 2 in my entire life, because no one's really interested in this stuff. But I had to decide, like, which one am I going to be? And so I had to pick. And so I decided, like, this is me. This is what I do on the weekends. I'm going to document it. But I'm going to put my own twist on it. I'm going to put my own twist on it. And there's a lot of great YouTubers out there. There's a lot of great people on Twitch making a lot of great content, but I'm going to put my own spin on it. It's a little bit of techno. It's a little, a little bit of gaming. It's a little bit of tech. It's a little bit of a lot of technology. I'm going to make it approachable. I'm going to make it produced as much as I can as a non-editor. I didn't know how to edit videos before I did this, but I want to make it as high quality as I can make it and make that better every time. Because I saw that was something that wasn't out there. I mean, unless you're like a Linus or a Snazzy or someone like that, or the million others you can think of. And I wanted to make content that would were projects that people can do maybe in a weekend. So it's a really long answer. So anyways, I had to decide a long time ago, am I gonna play games on Twitch, or am I gonna be the me that I am on the weekends and nights, where I'm either writing code or building out infrastructure or hosting stuff in my basement. As weird as that sounds. And so I just decided, that's me, that's me. I'm going to go all in with that, because it's easy to answer those questions. I've had tons of experience doing it in my own house. I've had, even in my own apartments, when I lived in apartments. I mean, one time I went as far as like sharing internet for the whole entire apartment and setting up a captive portal and having people, we'll split the internet bill, and setting up a captive portal and sharing internet with 10 people in my apartment building, in my home lab or in my apartment, because I thought it was awesome. And I was super inspired by the tech. And then I applied it and said, you want internet access? Let's split the bill. More people get on it, the cheaper it is. So anyways, so those are the kinds of things I've always been doing, but I just never thought that people were really interested in it. And then, obviously I search for those things on YouTube, and then the algorithm says, you like things like this, let's suggest more. And then I started to realize, like, hey, I do this stuff too. Maybe I can, share my own experiences or share my perspective of this. So anyways, long story short, what you've seen in the last 7 months is me on the weekends for the last 15 years. Like, I'm trying out something. I'm writing some code. I'm trying to automate something. I'm self-hosting something. I'm figuring out some tech that I've never tried before, but want to make it easy enough for me to be able to tell someone how to use it. And so that's what I had to decide. And fortunately, Techno Tim was still kind of fitting. Funny name on that, my name and how I got it. I didn't make it up for Twitch. I've had it for a while. But anyways, so it still kind of applies because it's Technology Tim. But anyways, that's a long story. But a great question. I don't mean to, sorry, that was like a lot about me, and I rarely try to make this entire stream like all about me. But that was a good question. I figured I'll answer it because no one's ever asked me that question before, because no one knew that I used to stream games before. People know now I stream about, server and basement type stuff, or server in a rack type stuff now. And I'm happy for that. And I've said this a few times too, that like, there are long periods in my life where I've been doing this and I've never had anyone to share it with. And I think a lot of people feel that way too. And so, by doing this, I think I'm trying to create a community of people who get to share what they're working on, what tech projects they're working on, or what they're interested in, or just even be able to talk about technology as a whole. I know that, bleeding edge tech is super popular now, but, growing up for me, it was like, didn't have anyone to tell or talk to about that stuff. I would talk to anyone who'd listen about technology. Most of people of which had no idea what I was talking about. Still, some of my friends say to me today, like, I saw your YouTube video. I have no idea what you're talking about, but it sounds awesome, you know? And, you know, by creating these videos and creating this channel, you know, I hope to kind of bring together people who like this stuff, you know, and I wouldn't have met so many people on this channel if one, the algorithm didn't find you. So I love their algorithm. I know a lot of people complain about it, but I love it because it found you. And then two, give everyone, you know, a place to kind of talk to other people about these ideas. I mean, I wouldn't know about 4K monitor scaling perfectly unless Penguin Airlines said it, or, you know, RDNA 2 was really the big Navi, how I knew it, unless Firewire said it. So it's, you know, it's fun for me to learn, but hopefully people are learning at the same time too. So anyways, I'm way in a sentimental zone right now instead of technical zone. Need to get back on tech. But anyways, long story short, that's why I did it, because this is me anyways. And so I figured I'm just gonna totally geek out on stuff that I like, and maybe YouTube will find people who also like this stuff. So yeah. Yeah. Anyways, Mr. Fistles, or I followed your guide. Yeah. I would look in, so this is going back to traffic. So I hopefully traffic has some logs. And so when you spin traffic up and then you try to access the internet, that traffic hopefully says like, hey, something was blocked, or gives you some clue to look at. But if not, like, man, Discord too. I know you can't post screenshots here. Discord, !Discord, post them somewhere, networking or Docker or Kubernetes or Rancher, any one of those channels. I'd love to take a look. Oh, Major Geek, I need to get that YouTube command in there. It's just !YouTube, but I should do YT. Techno Tim, do you run any containers and Raspberry Pis for yourself, hosted DevOps? I don't. I would love to at some point. So all of my Raspberry Pis are bare metal. So I have 3. One's actually mounted in a frame and it's connected to an LED panel back there. Another one is a Pi Zero. You might have seen the video that just monitors all of my servers. If they're off, it'll try to send a wake on LAN packet and wake them up. So that's bare metal. And then one's a RetroPie. So that's bare metal too. I would love to run containers on that, especially with the 4B, the dual core one. Seems like it can handle a little bit more. I always said that like if they're gonna release another Raspberry Pi, it better be able to emulate Nintendo 64 games or not make it at all. Because I've run RetroPie for a long time, and Nintendo 64 games were the ones that were the ones you couldn't emulate. And so I'm like, and I'm sure Raspberry Pi looked at this too, and they're like, well, how do we get RetroPie people to upgrade their RetroPie? More cores or run Nintendo 64 games? So I haven't checked. Hopefully they do. That was always my bar. I'm like, and they probably knew it too. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's just a performance thing. But how much performance? Hopefully their bar was emulate Nintendo 64 games. Haven't tried it though. I would love to know if someone has been able to on RetroPie, because that would be awesome. Let's see here. Personally, I'd be loyal to AMD for a while because they're, Home Lab New, 100% agree with you there. I totally agree. Like AMD has played so nicely with Linux for so long. And I don't mean to, when I say, hey, I'm probably going to pick NVIDIA without even seeing what AMD has to offer. Like I said, that has a lot to do with the NVENC encoder and how much I depend on that. So the encoding piece of the entire GPU, which is a separate chip. So I depend on that. I totally agree that AMD has always been a partner with Linux, from offering their drivers to Linux for so long. And they've been so friendly with Home Labs too, allowing their video cards to be virtualized without a pain. And so, yeah, I totally agree. And so that's totally fair, and probably not fair of me to also mention those things too. It's just always hard for me to think of like, the most, I don't want to say political, but the most, political answer to support both companies for what they do, because they're both doing awesome things. But yeah, 100% agreeing with you, Home Lab New. They have been a partner, I'll say partner too, to Linux for a long time. You've been able to install AMD stuff on Linux, no problem. Ethan, what's up, dude? What's going on, man? Dude, I'm sorry, I'm so behind on comments. Usually I'm not this far behind, but I talked for like 10 minutes on how I became Techno Tim, so I apologize. How's it going, man? The studio fire, yeah, man. You can even spend your channel points to get the color to change back here. Yeah, man. How are you, dude? How are things going with you? What, new job? You moved. You moved a while ago, but still kind of new. You went from down south to northwest. You're in great shape now, too. Man, how are you doing? Haven't seen you in a while, man. Takano might need a monitor as my Samsung one is constantly glitching. Yeah, the planes are going over. They're running them again like normal. It's kind of nice. The planes. For a while, it was just kind of like, did you hear a plane today? And usually you hear them all the time where I'm at. Ethan, Tim used to have the best chill indie streams. Yeah, mine were pretty chill. A lot less talking than I do now. A lot less talking, that's for sure. But it's kind of hard to like play games and engage with people. And that was another choice I had to make. Like, am I gonna engage with the people who are taking time to chat in my stream? Or am I gonna play a game and then sometimes chat with people? And so, I mean, that works for a lot of people. And sometimes people are there to play games. I made a conscious decision not even that long ago that I'm gonna engage with people, and I promise it's not always gonna be talk. It's not just gonna be like Tim talking at you. It'll be Tim talking with you. But soon we'll be able to do some more cool stuff soon. I'm hoping next week. I gotta wait on some hardware. Major Gamer Geek, nice. I'm playing Luigi's Mansion on GameCube right now. Nice. Hopefully this was on GameCube. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, that was probably in reply to whether me playing retro or platformer games, because I love them. I love platformers for sure. And when you get a new game that's a platformer that feels retro, like Dead Cells or Hades, oh, I love them. Love them so much. And I played them not too long ago. Homeland New, happy you're enjoying this more. And do you know that you can always take some streams off if you feel like it? We want you here for the long term, so this stays fun for you. Yeah, 100% agree. And I'm not gonna lie. Last week I was like, I might cut it down to 2, but I'm gonna keep it 3 for now. The 3 might be shorter. I've realized too that like, so yeah, here I'll lay it all out. So I did consider last week breaking these down to 2 a week, but then I realized like, I still want to appear on those days. I just might not be able to appear for 3 hours like I did today. You know, there might be an hour or 45 minutes, just enough time to see what's up with you guys and have everybody chat and just do a check-in. I want to make sure you guys are doing okay. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Because it's a ton of time and effort for sure. Ethan, man, you came at the right time, man. You're like, man, Tim, he's getting way too sentimental on his streams. I don't know about this guy anymore. No, kidding, Ethan. So happy to hear all this heartwarming. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, that's kind of my social media journey thus far, and it only happened, 9 months ago is when I kind of made the switch and was like, this is who I want to be when I grow up, which is who I am now. And so, yeah, I had to make a ton of decisions, and I wouldn't even say rebranding because I didn't have a brand to begin with. So it was just like I had to change what I do. But yeah. So Entor, hey, recently found you on YouTube. Glad to catch the stream. Keep doing what you're doing. Great content. Hey, Entor, thank you. I promise it's not all like this. Usually I don't talk about myself that much like that, so I apologize. Someone just asked a really good question. I thought it was a good opportunity to answer it. Major Gamer Geek, working on my first Twitch pot. Nice, yeah, man. Ethan, big brain plays. This is probably like going back to how I was, decided how to switch content. You definitely have come a super long way in 2 years. Thank you. Yeah, man. Yeah. And I think most of it was in the last like 4 months. Cause even when I made the switch, I had to then decide and figure out how do I talk to a camera? As if it's someone there in the room. That took me a long time to figure out. I'm still figuring it out. I still haven't figured it out. Like, how do I not appear to be a robot? In my videos. That's hard. That's hard stuff. It's almost, I don't want to say acting, but how do you act natural in an unnatural situation? I haven't figured it out yet. This is a more natural me. This is the me as if like, hey, we went to grab lunch, we're sitting outside or having a beer or whatever. This is the me. And so this is the me, hopefully, that I want to have come through on YouTube at some part. But yeah, it's tough. Like, how do you act natural when you're in a room by yourself on a camera that has a red blinking light as it's recording? It's tough. But yeah, thank you. That was a perfect answer to what a great journey you've been on. Thank you, NCIS Legend. Yeah, it's still going. Hopefully this is just the beginning. Major Geek, nice, yeah. Z-Panic, N64 I've always been kind of hard. Yeah, I agree. I remember being a kid with a Pentium 4 and it was struggling. Me too. I remember having like an Atom processor and it struggling. I mean, your P4 was probably stronger than my Intel Atom, but yeah, I agree. It was totally. Hopefully, someone let me know. Do Raspberry Pis, the 4B Plus or whatever, dual cores, do they run Nintendo 64 games on RetroPie? Because I swore that was going to be their bar. Because how else are you going to get people running existing RetroPies to upgrade? It's support more platforms, which the way that you support more platforms is a faster platform. But yeah, interested to know. Major Geek, I love my AMD Ryzen 2 CPU right now. Yeah, I need to get a Ryzen into my infrastructure. And so I in the same regard, I've been Intel fan for a long time. And it's not because like, sorry, I apologize, kids. They, like I said earlier, they love this driveway, so they go crazy riding their bikes on it, which is awesome. But anyways, I've been running Intel for a long time too, but only because like my processors last so long. And so AMD has been awesome in the last 3-4 years. And so I haven't had a reason to replace any of my Intels yet because they last for so long. As you guys know, like once you upgrade your processor, I mean, you're gonna ride that thing out, you know, as we used to say, ride it till the wheels fall off. And that's how I feel like processors are now. Because you most of the time you're gonna be maxed out for that motherboard. You might upgrade RAM, swap out hard drives, swap out your GPU. But at the end of the day, your CPU, you know, and your motherboard, you're going to ride it till the wheels fall off. And so I'm riding this Intel till the wheels fall off. I don't want the wheels to fall off, but when they do, I'm definitely looking at AMD for sure. Yeah, 3900X. Yeah, 3900X. What? That's 12 cores, 24 threads. I think. I'm just guessing. Not great at specs on AMD, but I think that's 12 cores. But yeah. Love mine, a real powerhouse. Yeah, I can't wait. Ethan, going super well. Thanks, man. Yeah, no problem at all. I saw you live, and I figured I would check in. Oh, live. I was like, you saw where I live? Are you outside right now? No. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, hope things are well. Yeah, someone got now we're at the Tokyo Nights. I think that's, yeah, I can tell because the one over there. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for switching them. Not that I didn't like the color before, but it's nice. Like I said earlier, I'm a big like mood light person. So as long as they keep changing, you know, it's just totally feels like a different environment. Techno Tim, do you have monitor arms you suggest? I just got a new sit standus. Major Gamer Geek, actually I do. I do. And I know I keep saying it, but I have a gear link down below. So if you look down there, there's a picture of I think my computer, and it says gear. If you go there, I have a bunch of kits, and in those kits, I do have monitor arms. I think I do. Yeah, I do. And so in there, if you see one called Han, it starts with an A. I'll tell you the exact ones I have. They're either going to be the V. So I have two types. One is like Vivo, I think, and the other is like How Nuo? I don't know. But either way, I do have gear links below. If you want to see the arms that I use, they should both be in there. And yeah, I have 3 and they're fantastic. Like I said, I'm tall, so it allows me to easily swivel and move them if I want. Best part is, and so I have a raising, standing, sitting desk too that I can alternate, convert it myself. Super fun. But now they're so cheap and like, why did I do that? But if you have a good piece of wood, then like you want to reuse that. Anyways, long story short, the best part about monitor arms is it raises them off the ground and you don't have this weird like oval thing at the bottom that you can't put anything in. And so when you pull that arm back, you end up with just, you know, a clamp that's this long on your desk that then you can put all kinds of junk on your desk. You don't want to see mine. But anyways, yeah. Let me know if you find them. If not, in Discord, I can link the exact ones, but I know it's in there. So Cassidy, have you ever run Blender and Docker for rendering? I have not. That sounds awesome. But I don't do any 3D rendering, but it sounds awesome. I've thought about doing something similar for encoding video, because at some point I record at a super high res and I save those at a super high res. At some point, I do think I'm going to scale down those videos only for storage considerations, because I'm not going to, like, I don't need 4K raw footage to take up 90 gigs of space for an hour shoot that I did of me just rambling and messing up. You know what I mean? But I still want those. So it's a good question. At some point, I am going to put something in place to just run a batch encode, downscale all of my raw footage to something else, because I still want it for archival, but it doesn't need to be 4K. It might not even need to be 1080p. Obviously, final renders of my stuff that's on videos, I'll have that. But anyways, haven't done it. I thought of something similar that would use what, MPEG 2 encoding or something like that. But no, that's awesome. Haven't done a ton of Blender stuff either. I think that's for 3D rendering. I think so. But I think they do 2D too, also, if I'm correct. Hey Tim, how do you set up commands with your Twitch user instead of creating another user? Yeah, man. So in my Twitch bot. So in that Twitch bot, I have a video on how to set up a Twitch bot. Part of that is creating an access token for your channel, from your channel. So you get an access token as yourself. And so Twitch thinks when you say stuff, it's you talking, right? Because you get a personal access token. It's authenticated to you. And then you use that in your bot. And so when the bot responds, it comes back as you. I've been thinking of changing that recently too. So it's cool. It's cool because it looks like it's me that's saying it, but I haven't typed a key. But at the same time, yeah. I might change it, but that's how you do it. Yeah, let me know. NCIS Legend, I have a spare 3 terabyte drive, 250 gig SSD, and a PowerEdge 410. Do you think we can have a video on setting up Proxmox cluster and maybe even Kubernetes clusters across 2 servers? Yeah, absolutely. Do I think it's possible? I do for sure. Like I said, like this one that I released today was rounding off a lot of content that I've been building up to. Basically how to do DevOps and self-hosting at home, end to end. So this opens the doors for other things. So yeah, for sure. Ethan, camera presence is so hard, for sure. Yeah, I still look at my YouTube videos as I'm editing and I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. Anyways, hey Tim, do you have any plan for doing a YouTube video about spinning VMs from Cloud Init, Image, and Proxmox? I see it all the time that people use to install Ubuntu from scratch in Proxmox. Cloud Init saves a ton of time. To click and you have a new VM. Yeah, I've thought about it before. Cloud Init sounds awesome to me. And I played with that before with, I think Rancher OS used Cloud Init or something like that. Great. Thank you. Could I do it sometime? Possibly. Let me write it down. If it gets on my notebook, it might make it to my digital notes. Hopefully it does. But yeah, that's a great time. That's a great call out. I will be, I don't want to say refreshing some of the content that I have, but I'll be doing some of the things that I have differently that will warrant a new video. So at some point, Cloud Init might also be worth looking into when I do that. So thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, you guys are redeeming the points. Love it. Yeah. He's the one making ruckus outside. Yeah. So talking about Ethan when I thought he said he was out where I live. Yeah, he's like, under your bed. Sorry, I'm behind in comments, but I'm getting there. Tim, I'm outside. I can see your whole studio. It's fire. Yeah, thanks. Major Gamer Geek, I'm 6'2", so I'd like to get arms. Awesome. I'm 6'5", man, so I feel your pain. Like everything's too low or too close. I feel you. Yeah, for sure. And the cool thing is it lets you move your monitor back as far as you want or pull it as close as you want. Yeah, it's when you get arms. And they're cheap ones. Like I think the ones that I have are $30 each, which, you know, may or may not be cheap for some people. They're cheap compared to Ergotron $300 arms that are way beyond anything I need. So they're very affordable. I'll put it there. Ethan, you like the Tokyo lights? Yeah, man. Entor, have you ever tried AWS Glacier for long-term archive backup? Thoughts on it? I haven't. I heard it's super cheap. For long-term, slow to change type stuff. I think that's why it's called Glacier. I haven't done it. No, I use Backblaze for all of my backup needs. Sounds like a commercial now, but I do. I have the home version, the $5 a month version, and I probably have 4 terabytes of stuff there. And so it's worked out well for me. And you know, I have a backup job that runs and it backs it up, and it's pretty reliable. So no, I might look at it at some point, but I haven't used it. I heard a lot about it, but for me, yeah, like Backblaze has done everything I could ask for and more. And it's, you know, I pay a year at a time, $60, $5, and I feel like I should be paying more because I have so much data in there. But I mean, yeah, I'm not trying to like bankrupt them, but at the same time, they said unlimited data. So Stop Kid, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Ethan, don't sweat it. You're doing great, man. Appreciate it. 6'4" gang, man. You're tall too, man. Yeah. Nice, man. Dude, you still skateboarding? Saw you picked up that again, I guess, too, according to social media, man. Yeah. About Dubin Tagar. Hopefully I got that right. Do I have a college degree? Yeah, I do. Yep. I have a college degree. Yep. I actually studied Japanese and computer science. But it was like a minor in computer science. Japanese was my major. So yeah. Yep. Did I apply all of it? Probably not. I applied it for a while, but then I just decided to do other things. And on top of that, all of my software developing skills are 100% self-taught. Me and Pluralsight and lots of code examples. And then a few people, in a lot of my own doing, but then a few people who gave me a chance. And that's all it took. But yeah, I'm very fortunate to have that opportunity. But yeah, short here. Yeah, man. Now one of the rail slides only about 75%. Yeah. Hey guys, I hate to do this because man, the conversation is getting awesome, but I do have to wrap this up. Absolutely, skating is life. That's so cool. Thinking of learning Japanese. Yeah, watashi no obasan wa Nihonjin desu. So my grandmother's Japanese too, so that kind of helps. So I'm part Japanese. So yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm only 5'6". Ha ha ha. Love how Twitch streamers read my name. I'm Arab. My first name is Abdu. Okay, Abdu. Oh, Abdu Bentagar. Abdu Bentagar? Did I say it right? Hopefully I did. Oh man, you should totally put some Pascal casing in there. So if you don't know what Pascal casing is, it's like camel casing. But if you don't know what camel casing is, there's a programming term where you, on Pascal casing, you capitalize the first letter of each one. So if I saw that and it was capital A and then capital B, I'd be like Abdu Bentagar. So it's all lowercase, so it's hard for me to read, but I appreciate it. Man, they're rolling in. Easton Co 7, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Stop Kid, I think I said that one. Edgebake, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Welcome guys. Man, things are rolling in right now. I want to say thank you so much. I do have to call it quits. I would love to stay here all day, but not being fair to my wife. Amongst other things, and it's getting late here, and I've been on a lot longer than I thought I was going to be. But man, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate like being here, chatting. Super successful stream once again, as always. Thanks to the follow, subs, everything. But as I always say, thank you so much for being here. Like the time, spending time here is more than I can ever ask for. If you want to continue this conversation, you can. It doesn't have to end here. Obviously, you can stay in the channel and chat. That's not going anywhere. But if you want to continue the conversation, Takano linked the Discord. There's the Discord channel. Highly encourage you to join. We have lots of channels in there of people talking about lots of things, even as I look about it. Everything about tech, everything about home lab, about self-hosting, even about gaming. You name it, it's in there. So I encourage you to join. So thank you so much. Yeah, see you next time. I will be back Tuesday, 7 Central. So 7 Chicago time, I'll be back. And until then, man, you guys take care. Have a great weekend. Oh man, I gotta get this. I gotta get this one going. I should always have this like ready to go at any time, but yeah. So have a great weekend. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a good night. Be good to each other.